Greetings! How is everyone in planet Earth doing? Uh, Today is March 10th, which for the nerdy Mario fans may know, it's Mario 10 Day, in celebration of our good friend Mar, who was born on March 10th. Um, and I thought, hey, you know what? It's a special day, and the sun is shining bright where I'm at right now. It's very nice out at like 1:06 p.m. where I'm streaming right now, and I think now it's more. What's a better time than any to basically go back to reading this really cool, really neat Paper Mario fan fiction, which has nothing to do with our good buddy Mar from March 10th. um, so yeah, let's just, let's just get right into it, shall we? Oh, hello, Sensei Soda Pop. How you doing? Hey. So, I bet you were here while I was just saying what I was saying. But yeah, happy Mari 10 Day. I hope you're having a great day, Sensei Soda Pop. You still like being called Carbon, right? I'm okay with calling you Sensei, but if you're cool with Carbon, then it's all good. um, but yeah, let me get on the stream right now. Hello. So yeah, I have the story pulled up on our good old classic website, fanfiction.net. I also have Ether with me. As usual, she doesn't want to talk to any of you guys, so she's gonna watch in silent contempt. Ether is actually like a Paper Mario fan. It's like the only thing that she actually cares about with Mario. She's not really much of a Mario fan. And I thought, hey, maybe she could join in and just watch me read this story. Eventually, I will have a TTS bot set up, but for now, I'm not quite there yet. I'm not an affiliate. Hopefully, I get more than 3 viewers on the stream. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So, last time that I read Paper Mario: The Temple of the Sun, let me try to remember what happened. So Mario and friends went to this cool kingdom that's all about day and night and stuff, and then some bad dude, I think his name is Shroud, killed a bunch of night gods or whatever, and causes the time in this kingdom to just freeze in place. So whenever you're at, it's always like day or noon or whatever. It doesn't really shift in time, which is a pretty neat idea. At this point, we've met this Goomba character who's just an asshole. We meet this, I think his name is Gooblain. We have this new Hammer sister character named Hanner, who's a bit of a clumsy doofus. And then we have another new Clubba partner named Stubba, where we basically went through Mario's weird racial tensions with Clubbas, which I was not expecting that kind of direction for the story to go, but here we go. To be honest, I'm not really a fan of that characterization for Mario because it just seems really... It just kind of comes across like really forced, and like Mario is not the kind of guy who, after like 2 encounters with one species, you'll hold a negative opinion on an entire group of species, Like, Mario is a very tolerant person, and I find it, honestly, disappointing that, this story takes in that direction. It was still a fun chapter, but, like, looking back, it was kind of weird. But yeah, now that we're at we're beginning we're not quite starting chapter 3 yet. We still have, like, 2 post chapter 2 sections, so yeah, let's just get right into it. Author's note. This is unrelated to the story, but is anyone else getting supremely ticked off by all these I heart vampires ads? I, for one, do not heart vampires! I don't remember. I'm trying to think. Have I ever seen an I heart vampires ad? I don't think I have. Uh, uh, by the way, this story was written in like 2009, so I imagine this was very relevant at the time. But anyway, the Temple of the Sun, 0000. Things has not been going well for King Shroud's top priority prisoner. Try as she might, Peach was unable to devise a way to escape the Temple of the Sun, nor was she able to uncover any information that would be useful to anyone. All she knew about was the Sun's soul on top of Mount Tourmaline, and what was she supposed to do about that? Princess, I insist you relax for a moment, said Toadsworth as she was pacing back and forth in agitation. You won't be any help to Master Mario if you wear yourself out like this. Peach spun around to glare at him. You want me to relax? She shrilled. Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to relax? She shrilled. Have you noticed our situation, Toadsworth? We're being held prisoner by some madman with absolutely no way out of this mess. We can't even tell Mario where we are. And I don't like the sound of what he wanted to do to Peach, added Luigi. I mean, he wants her for something big, and that can't be good. I don't know, Luigi. I think you're being too judgmental. Taking a sip. Peach moaned, sitting down on the Aeon clock. Why is it always me? She lamented. Why am I always the one the villains need for their megalomaniacal plans? I mean, couldn't Daisy get kidnapped just once? Wow, that's a low blow, Peach. Luigi instantly started blushing. Princess Peach, how can you say something like that? Oh, I'm sorry, Luigi, Peach muttered. It's just, I'm so sick and tired of this. Every time we think we saved the world, somebody else comes along to muck things up. After a moment, she suddenly stood up and turned to face the Aeon clock. That King Shroud has gone too far, she raged. Ugh. He honestly thinks he could get rid of a day? And he thinks I'm going to help him do it? Why, if he were here right now, I'll give him a piece of my mind. Unable to contain her frustration any longer, she clenched her fist and kicked the enormous clock as hard as she could. She was not expecting an enormous crack to form across it, splitting the entire thing in half. Princess, you broke it! Peach gasped, hands flying to her mouth. I didn't mean to, she insisted, starting to panic. I mean, I didn't think it was that strong. As they got a closer look, though, they realized the crack was supposed to be there. In fact, it had always been there. The Aeon clock... wait, hold on. The Aeon clock was made up by two halves, and Peach had just managed to split them apart. And then suddenly, the two halves started moving even further apart, seemingly of their own accord. They both rotated on hidden axes until the space that they had been covering up before was completely unveiled. Peach, Luigi, and Toadsworth all cautiously approached it and peered down into the blackness. It's a staircase, Peach realized. So then, this place we're in, this isn't the whole temple? Luigi marveled. There's more! There's just one room! Wait, this is just one room! So how small is this temple, did they think at this point? Peach jumped to attention. Come on, you two, let's investigate. Princess, are you not the least bit concerned for your own safety? Toadsworth exclaimed, grabbing her by the arm before she could go down, charging down the stairs. Go down, charging down the stairs? I just said that. We haven't the slightest idea what's down there. Whatever it is, it has to be better than up here, Peach replied firmly, shirking him off. Shirking him off? Is that I don't know. I don't know if that was a word. I need to look up shirking soon and use it more often. Besides, do you want to get out of here or not? We could just find a way to escape. I'm with the princess on this one, Luigi agreed. Just somebody else go down first. And so all three of them traveled ever so cautiously down the long flight of stairs, leading to the lower floor of the temple. They spent a good portion of the trip in near-perfect darkness, leaving Luigi to whimper nervously with every descending step. If we get caught, we're done for, he muttered. He won't do anything to us. He wouldn't, Peach reassured him, though she wasn't sure if that was true. She had a feeling Luigi was more expendable than she was. Oh, okay. Damn. Finally, they saw a faint light coming from the doorway at the bottom of the stairs, and much to their surprise, they could hear voices as well. Luigi jerked to a stop. That's him! He cried, recognizing the voice of King Shroud. Oh man, I knew this was a bad plan! Oh, get a hold of yourself, old bean, Toadsworth snapped, standing in the Green Plumber's way before he could go fleeing back up the stairs. If you continue with that racket, we're sure to be caught. Now just calm down and... At that moment, both of them noticed that Peach had reached the very bottom of the stairs and was peering into the doorway. Peach! They both whispered loudly, scrambling down after her and attempting to drag her away. Shh! Peach whipped around and put a finger to her lips, then silently gestured to them to look into the doorway with her. Ever so cautiously, the three of them craned their heads around to see what was on the other side. It was a long, ornate hallway with a magnificent carpet and shining golden walls. There weren't any other doors to be seen, but standing just a few yards away from them was King Shroud himself, and he was glaring down at the familiar figures of Jaff, Pell, and Knob. The three Dark Striders looked like they had seen better days. So let me get this straight, the Master of Night said sternly. Not only did the monster of Mount Tourmaline not get rid of Mario, it decided to take its anger out on you instead? No doubt due to some fumbling of your own? Our most humble apologies, my lord, Jaff muttered, nursing several visible injuries. Our plan wasn't as infallible as we thought. He sagely decided to leave out the part about how they'd been beaten up by a 6-year-old clubber. And I suppose this means Mario has found a second Sun Soul as well. Shroud sighed deeply. Simply spectacular. I hope you realize what a disappointment you three are. Peach, Luigi, and Toadsworth all stared at each other in shock. Had I heard right? Mario had actually found a second Sun Soul? But how had he known where to look? Give us another chance, my lord, Pell pleaded. We won't rest until we put a stop to Mario's meddling. Just give us a word. Now that he's found the Morning Soul, he'll surely be going after the Sun High Soul in Mustard Mines next, Jaff agreed. We can heat him off there with no problem. Shroud's anger seemed temporarily abated when he heard Jaff's words. Mustard Mines, you say? He mused, stroking his chin. That's where you hid the third one? Oh, that reminds me, I gotta shave today. Mario doesn't just stand a chance of finding it, but we'll go after him just the same, Jaff insisted, desperate to get back in their king's good graces. That won't be necessary, Shroud immediately decided. Much to everyone's surprise, he was suddenly wearing a smug grin. From what I've heard, that place is having some serious problems of its own. We'll just see how Mario likes it over there. Frankly, I doubt he'll even make it without our interference. The three Dark Striders looked at each other in uncertainty. Is it really smart to let Mario get off like that without us watching him? Asked Knob. Clearly, it's no less smart than leaving you three to deal with him, Shroud replied sharply, causing his minions to wince. Need I remind you, and that's twice now you've lost to him? I'm starting to think Mario is too important a case to be left with all of you. The Dark Striders looked horrified. They had to do something to prove they were still useful. The incident on Mount Tourmaline could have possibly been a complete failure. We did learn something interesting, my lord, Jaff ventured. Apparently, Mario and those friends of his have become targets of some mercenary. Mercenary? Who? She's a weirdo, crazy-daisy lady, Pell chimed in, and she commands a gang of very powerful putrid piranhas. Mario beat her, of course, but we just don't know what her motives are, Jaff continued. She's after the Sun Souls too, but nobody knows why. Well, that is interesting, Shroud agreed, folding his arms thoughtfully. I wonder, just how badly does she want the Sun Souls? That would determine whether we have a new ally or a new target on our hands. If she can't be negotiated with, we have no choice but to eliminate the competition. Jaff quickly brightened up. So you trust us now? I never said that. The Dark Striders all wilted. Oh, perfect music, too. All of a sudden, A thick cloud of black smoke came rising up from the floor behind Shroud and the Darkstriders, the signature sign of the arrival of one of their kind. Surprised, Peach and the others leaned over and watched in interest as the fourth Darkstrider suddenly appeared, marching dutifully over to Shroud. Jeff, Pell, and Nob did not look at all happy to see the newcomer. "My lord, I came with important news," she announced, for this one was definitely female. Not only that, but she was about an inch taller than Jeff, and instead of blue, her skin was dark green. "We have just gotten word of 2 new arrivals in Chronoside. Somehow, they were able to get past your barriers surrounding the land." Shroud looked astonished. "Just what are you saying, Rizz?" "Oh no, her name is Rizz!" Shit. Oh, that's beautiful. Great. He demanded. "My powers maiden of Chronoside has been completely quartered off. No one leaves or enters. How is this possible?" "We're not sure, my lord," Rizz replied. "One of them was a magic Koopa, though, so that may have had something to do with it. Their spells have effects we haven't fully studied yet." "Fine. Who was the other one, and where are they now?" "The other one was a very large Koopa, and a strange-looking one at that," the female Darkstrider reported, making a conscious effort to keep her posture perfect as she spoke. "From what we've heard, he's none too bright. Anyway, our report says they're both currently in Saluda Town. But what? Well, they're in 2 different halves of Saluda Town, if you know what I mean," Rizz tried to explain. "That lumbering oaf of a Koopa is in the accursed daytime world, and the old hag of a magic Koopa is in our world." Peach immediately ducked out of the doorway, facing Luigi and Toadsworth urgently. "You two, she's talking about Bowser and Cammy, isn't she?" "What are they doing here?" Luigi wondered. "Very well," Shroud decided. "Thank you for that valuable information, Rizz. Excellent work as always." "I am not worthy, my lord." The other Darkstriders glared at her, and she gave them a very smug smirk. "Jeff, Pal, Nob," Shroud went on, "let's leave Mario to his fruitless quest in mustard mines. If the 3 of you really want to be useful, I have a better job for you. Go and find these 2 newcomers of ours and find out who they are and what they're doing here." "It will be done, my lord," Jeff declared loyally, but it didn't seem to move Shroud at all. Very good. All of you are dismissed." All 4 Darkstriders nodded, and all at once 4 puffs of black smoke rose up and engulfed them. When it had cleared, they had all vanished. "This has given me quite a bit to think about," Shroud mused to himself now that he was alone. "But how does Mario continuously find out where to go? Surely those 3 aren't incompetent enough to let slip something as important as that." He glowered. Glowered? No. It must have been the princess. Somehow she's been communicating with him, he growled. "I suppose the blame for this latest failure falls partially on me as well. I've been feeding information to our enemies, a mistake I won't make again." Suddenly, he became aware of a strange feeling. His eyes narrowed suspiciously at something, and he jerked his head up and spun around. He wasn't alone. "Who's there?" he bellowed. "Who are you?" Peach, Luigi, and Toadsworth had already fled all the way back up the stairs. Whew. A lot has happened. Man, I can't believe we have a character named Rizz. That's amazing. Took a sip. Alright. "That was too close," Luigi moaned as Peach frantically pushed the 2 halves of the clock back together, covering their escape. "But this is good news, you two," she insisted, flushing with excitement. "Somehow, Mario found out where the second Sun Soul was, and he's found it. And now we know where the 3rd one is too." "Pardon me, Princess, but I thought we already agreed that doesn't help our situation one bit," Toadsworth reminded her. "Mario's the one who needs that information, not us." I know. But think about it, both of you. Somehow, Mario found out where to go, didn't he? And us 3 are the ones who knew. She folded her hands. I think somehow us finding out where the Sun Souls are is helping Mario. I can't explain it, but I think we need to keep finding out where the next ones are. That's how we're going to help him. You're not making any sense, Princess, Luigi said cautiously. I don't understand it myself, but it's the only explanation I could think of. She looked between the two of them, and for the first time in a long time, she dared to smile. Mario will find that next Sun Soul. I know he will, she said firmly. As long as he's still out there, there will always be reason for us to carry on. There will always be hope. Damn straight. And we get some happy music in honor of this celebratory event. Alright. Saluna Town, 12 o'clock noon. Not everyone was currently feeling as optimistic as Peach. Who the heck is that guy? Run for your lives! Ah! The crowd of busy people in the town square was rapidly parting and fleeing to make room for a certain huge, lumbering Koopa who was staggering up the street. What the heck is going on here? Bowser grumbled to himself, quickly getting annoyed by the screams filling his ears. He was feeling incredibly dizzy and disoriented, and he couldn't say at all how he got in here. The last thing he could remember was flying into those enormous black clouds with Cammy. Where was Cammy, anyway? Would somebody please tell me where this place is? He shouted at the panicking citizens. And stop screaming like that! You're gonna give me a migraine! Seriously, shut up! Bowser unleashed his impatience and fury in the form of a fiery blast from his mouth, which incinerated several shirts that had been hanging from clotheslines and set a few street-side kiosks on fire. No! My spices! Wailed a Lakitu merchant wearing a fez. Oh my god, this music is perfect for this little moment. Man, everywhere I go, it's always the same thing. Bowser grumbled to himself as the last few remaining citizens ran and hid. Why am I so terrifying? I mean, I know my sheer awesomeness can be pretty intimidating, but is it really that bad? There were 3 people standing in front of the street who weren't scared of Bowser in the least. Jaff, Pell, and Nob were crouching in the shadow of a nearby building, regarding the Koopa King closely. Man, I hate going to this daytime world, Nob complained, rubbing his forehead. All the sun is giving me a headache. Complaining, both of you, Jaff hissed. This is the one King Shroud wanted us to find. Let's hurry up and get him, and we'll minimize the time we have to spend in this accursed place. Well, at least this way I could look for those stupid Mario Brothers without any interference, Bowser finally decided, and my sweet little Peach too. I bet she'll be so happy to see her chubby hubby. But where could I be anyway? What Bowser didn't realize, of course, was that Peach was currently no further away than the opposite side of town. If he managed to make this way over here, he would have found her, and things would have gone from bad to worse for our heroes. But he didn't, so this happened instead. Excuse me, came a commanding voice from near the ground. Confused, Bowser turned around and looked down, finding himself staring at 3 dark blue imps. Huh? Who are you 3 supposed to be? Mutated Goombas? He demanded. Look, I'm in the middle of something important right now, so kindly move before I crush you. Excuse me, repeated the one in the center, not bulging an inch. By order of King Shroud, ruler of Chronoside, we've been asked to ascertain the meaning of your arrival here. Who are you, and what is your business here? Bowser looked incredulous. Why would I tell you that, Bluey? Bluey? He snapped. Now get out of my way, shrimps. I have a princess to look for, and an old hag if I'm in the mood. The Magic Koopa who arrived here with you, Jaff interpreted. Well, she's not here. She's currently in our half of the world. It would seem that since the 2 of you arrived after our Lord seized control of this place, you haven't been split like everyone else. Trust me, we'll be finding your companions and speaking with her soon enough. What? It was no secret that Bowser wasn't the smartest Koopa around. Things like a world and all the people in it being split into mere halves was something slightly outside his comprehension. Whenever he ran into a situation like this, he always dealt it with the same way, brute force. Alright, you guys aren't making a whiff of sense, he growled, forcibly showing the Dark Striders out of the way. I don't have any more time to waste here. I have to find me a princess and trounce me a Mario. The Dark Strider's ears all pricked up at once. Did you say Mario? Jaff repeated. Yeah, what of it? Bowser sniffed, already stomping away. The Dark Striders hastily exchanged glances with each other before their leader spoke again. Mario has recently become a personal target of our Lord, he called after Bowser. He's been interfering in our plans, and we don't approve of it. We would appreciate any help at all in getting rid of him. Bowser slowly drew to a stop. After standing where he was for a moment, he turned back around to face the Darkstriders. You freaks want to get rid of Mario too? He asked, sounding intrigued. Jaff nodded. A wicked smile spread across his face as a plan began to formulate in his mind. Sir, he said, we have a proposition for you. Okay, so now we've got a bunch of new information. We have a new character named Rizz, which fucking amazing. And now it kind of seems like now this dark trio of enemies are going to team up with Bowser to take down Mario. Fascinating. Alright, I'm going to take a drink real quick. Whew. So that was the Chapter 2 interlude. Now it's time for a post-Chapter 2. Oh boy. Yeah, I should commit to actually like reading the post-chapter stuff after I finish the chapters that it's, you know, supposed to be following up on. But yeah. Author's notes. Over 100 reviews already. You guys are the best. Hell yeah. Is there a way to actually find reviews? I actually don't know how that works. Okay, well, let's just get on to reading then. Pebble Gem Village, 9 o'clock a.m. The entire length of the journey, Mario's team had been worried about just how they would get back down to the mountain after they made it all the way up. Thankfully, that problem was solved in the form of Frida Icefang, the not-so-abominable snow lady, who jovially volunteered to give them a ride down. Not so thankfully, that ride entailed clutching onto her for dear life as she literally ran down the mountain face, covering the distance back to the village in a matter of minutes. Mario felt lucky he had had a heart attack or gone mute from all that screaming. Damn. Ah! At the very least, when she climbed back up to the top for the second trip, Clifford had to go through the same thing. Hey look everyone, it's the mustache guy! Cried the Koopa as soon as the tour group had made it safely back to the village. Quick everybody, let's belt rocks at him! Shouted the Mouser. What the heck? Mario screamed as the entire group started doing just that. Thankfully, Clifford stepped in at the nick of time and started loudly berating them, saying there was no point in attacking him anymore since they had already failed to stop him from reaching the Sun Soul. You're lucky I don't charge all you double for this, you louts! He growled as they all sheepishly dropped the rocks they hadn't thrown yet. Mario just shook his head. So Clifford, I hope you learned something from all this, he said firmly after the group had bidden their fond farewells to Frida. Especially since that abominable snowman turned out to be real after all. If we hadn't been there to stop you from going in that cave, who knows what would have happened to you? All I've learned is that some people are ridiculous cheaters and cheapskates, the cleft grumbled, jealously eyeing the Sun Soul that Stubba was holding in his arms. You mark my words, Mustache Man. This is not the end of the Cleford. One day I shall be the richest cleft alive. The grand enterprise of Cleford Touring Unlimited shall take over the world. You shall all be bugs beneath the mighty shoes of... He continued ranting as he walked away. Mortar shook his head after him yet again. If I know one thing about the guy, it's that he never learns anything. Oh wait, it's the Monty Mole. The Monty Mole apologized. Or if he does, he won't admit it. I think there may be a subtle apology somewhere in that rant. Mario grinned. Well, that tells him it's alright, and tell him this tour was a very educational experience. Mario's team, along with the tour group, decided to spend some time resting at the tavern before they started their journey back. This gave Mario enough time to take care of one of their big remaining tasks, talking to Stubba's parents. After wondering what exactly he was supposed to tell them to convince them that he needed to take their son away on an incredibly dangerous quest, he finally decided that he had no choice but to tell them the entire truth. Why they needed Stubba and nobody else to come with them, and why it was physically impossible for his parents to come with. He thought it was only by some divine miracle that they finally believed him, although saving them from the Darkstriders had probably helped his credibility. So, You really need our son to save the world, his mother sighed, looking down at him. Oh, Stubba, I always knew you'd do big things with your life. I just didn't think they'll be so soon. Don't worry, Mommy. I'll be with Mario. He's the best. I'm not scared of anything when he's here. You obviously have a very brave and pure son, if that makes you feel better, Hannah offered. Now, you listen here, Stubba's father said to Mario. You better make sure nothing happens to him, understand? And you better send us an email every day and tell us how he's doing. Mario blinked. You guys got internet up here? Though it took a while, Stubba finally said all the goodbyes he could manage to his parents, and his Nana as well, who still wasn't too happy that Mario had, in her eyes, kidnapped the little clubber from right under her nose. After that, they began the long hike down the mountain, and before too long they were back in the town where it all began. Yay. Taking another drink. Alright. Sloana Town, 12 o'clock noon. Stubba looked a little nervous from the size and activity of the town, but at the same time he looked excited to be there. I've never been on an adventure before, Mario. This is so cool. But how come we're here? Well, we still need to find 4 more Sun Souls and 4 more Guardians. So we're going to go talk to a friend of ours who hopefully can tell us where the next ones are. Sorry. My throat is kind of sore right now. Not sore. Hold on. Okay. On the way over to Rodolfo's house, Mario decided to stop by the badge shop nearby and pick up a few choice badges. Damage Dodge for himself and Damage Dodge P for his partners. After that, they headed straight over to the Dugan's residence, eager to find out what the journey would be taking them next. I really hope Peaches is still okay, Mario said to Gublain and Hannah. I can't stop worrying about her, knowing that half of her is being locked up like that. He didn't have to worry. Almost the very instant they were through the door, Peaches suddenly dashed over, enveloped Stubba in a crushing hug, and started gushing on and on about how adorable he was. Oh, I miss you too, Mario, she added sweetly. Hello, Mario, Rodolfo said excitedly, running over to him as well. Oh, is this our new guardian? Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. 2 Sun Souls and 2 Guardians already. This effort of ours has been more successful than I ever imagined. I said we waste no time getting started on the next one. Couldn't agree more, Mario said with a nod. He turned to Peach, who was still distracted with Stubba. Peach, he cleared his throat. You didn't happen to find out where the next Sun Soul is, did you? Oh yes, I did, she replied proudly, putting Stubba down. Apparently, it's called the Sun High Soul, and it's in some place called Mustard Mines. Really? A Sun Soul called the Sun High Soul? Mario didn't sound impressed. Well, I guess it's not as bad as a crystal star called the Crystal Star. I get that. Rodolfo looked stunned. Mustard Mines, you say? Oh dear, I'm afraid that doesn't bode very well for us. What do you mean? Asked Mario. Well, you better come have a look. He led them over to the coffee table where Luigi and Toadsworth were waiting, took the map from Mario's hands and unfurled it over the table. That's your next destination, he announced, pointing at the northwest corner of the map, which happened to be the arid, desert-covered region. The Mustard Mines are a very famous landmark. They've been around for nearly 100 years, and they've been continuously expanded on ever since then. They're a virtual labyrinth. It's quite possible that you never find a Sun Soul in there. Boy, I'm glad I'm not going this time, Luigi said nervously. Getting lost underground doesn't sound like a good time. Oh, please, Hannah said with a roll of her eyes. We just scaled the tallest mountain in Chronoside, and we're supposed to get scared to get some mines? We're supposed to get scared of some mines? Come on, Mario's dealt with worse things than that. I bet he goes in there and busts the place open until we find a Sun Soul. Yeah, Mario can do anything, Stubba agreed. Right, Mario? Yeah, what they said. Well, I'm afraid it's not even that simple, Dolphin sighed. In case you couldn't tell, the Mustard Mines are gold mines. You just can't walk in there whenever you feel like it. They're the property of a town known as Golden Spur Ranch. Golden Spur Ranch. Mario seemed to be mulling the name over in his head. Somehow, I have a pretty good image of that town in my head already. Well, I should think so, Rodolfo agreed. Corals, saloons, it's cowboy country over there, folks. Hannah looked excited about that. Ooh, really? Cowboys are handsome. Is that all you think about? Goulet said in exasperation. More to the point, Rodolfo ran on, I'm quite certain you need to go there first and get some sort of official clearance to go to the Mustard Mines. I'm sorry I can't be more helpful than that. Don't worry about it, said Mario. Go to the Spur Ranch it is, then. So how do we get there? Rodolfo opened his mouth to answer, but momentarily he shut it again. As a matter of fact, he said sheepishly, I'm not entirely sure. Hannah groaned. Remind me why we keep listening to this fool, Goulet muttered. Come on, Rodolfo, you have to have some idea, Mario insisted. Isn't there a warp pipe around that would take us there, or anything? I'm sorry, Mario, but this is one thing that I'm just not sure about, the Dugan sighed. Suddenly, though, his eyes widened. Oh, but there is someone I know of who could surely help you. Who is it? I happen to know of a mysterious old shaman who just lives up the street from here. His name is Merlin. Mario grinned. Aha! So this place has a Merlin too, huh? A Merlin? Long story. Well, anyway, Mario, this Merlin is said to have the ability to see into the future and advise people on the path they should follow. Many people travel here to seek his advice. I'm sure he could provide some way for you to reach Golden Spur Ranch. Perfect! That's just what we'll do, Mario decided. I'll see you later, everyone. Peach, let go of Stubba. But he's so cuddly, Peach whined, and it was only with a minute maximum amount of effort that Mario was able to drag Stubba out the door. It took no... Hold on, let me drink. Alright. It took no time at all for Mario to find Merlin's house. As he and his partners walked inside, they found themselves in a dark, smoky room with stars painting on the walls and colorful wheels hanging across the ceiling. The wizard himself was standing in the middle of the room, crouched over a crystal bar. Hello Zeta, how's it going? Yes, it is the fanfic. I am back to reading some more Paper Mario, The Temple of the Sun. I'm about to start Chapter 3. Right now we're just wrapping up the last bits of Chapter 2. I hope you're doing good. And also happy Mario Day in celebration of Mar, born on March 10th. Let's see. Like every other iteration of Merlin Mario had ever seen, this one was stripped in blue robes and a hood that obscured most of his form, and he had an enormous bushy mustache that reached down to the floor. Apart from that, all that was visible of him was a pair of beady yellow eyes. Welcome, Mario, Goulet, Hannah, and Stubba, he intoned in a faraway voice. Stubba's jaw dropped open when he heard that. I am Merlin the Magician. I predicted your arrival from studying my crystal ball. You have come here in need of advice. I'm doing better, thanks. Hope you're right. Hey, I'm glad you're doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good too. Yeah, it's been a pretty fun day so far. It's gonna be... I have work tomorrow, so obviously I don't have much time for myself today, but hey, you know, I just gonna want to read this fanfic, so... Yeah, that's about it, Mario agreed. We're looking for something, and someone very important near a place called Golden Spur Ranch, but we have no idea how to get there. Merlin nodded slowly. The simple task of locating such a place I can easily accomplish, he decided, for a reasonable sum of 10 coins. Expecting this, Mario fished around in his pockets and handed the coins to Merlin. Very good, the wizard decided. I will consult the crystal for the answer to your dilemma. Wait there and observe. It's the story about the split world, right? Yes, this is the story about the split world. Merlin leaned in close over the crystal, concentrating with all his might. He began muttering arcane magic words under his breath. That's a great description. And suddenly the crystal began to glow. Images of stars and planets began flashing across the wall, and the room began to feel as though it were spinning. Mario and his partners watched in awe. Shazibby! Merlin shouted. Shazubi! The crystal gave one final, blinding flash with a sound like a firecracker going off. When the light died down, the room had returned to normal. Also, wait. Hold on, what? Oh, okay, the playlist is still playing. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Oh, never mind. It's 8-bit music in Super Mario RPG. That's why I could barely hear it. Okay. The crystal gave one final blinding flash with a sound like a firecracker going off. When the light died down, the room had returned to normal. Aha! Cried Merlin. You needn't fear any longer, Mario, for the crystal has told me that the answer to your problem is fast approaching. Your way to Golden Spur Ranch will soon be here. Do you know how soon? Merlin squinted at the crystal again. In about 2 seconds. Huh? That very instant, the door came flying open and slammed into the wall with a deafening crash, which was somewhat unfortunate for Gooblain, who'd been standing directly in front of it. You son of a! He screamed from on the floor, but Mario's attention was quickly drawn away from him and toward the Bumpty, who had just came bursting into the room. Oh, Bumpty! Yay! I love those guys. Merlin, dude! He cried joyfully. Long time no see, dude! What is up, my good man? Oh, for crying out, Merlin exclaimed. Ferdinand, can you not see I have visitors? Whatever you and your boarding buddies need this time, I'll have to wait. Aw, please, Merlin, begged another voice, and all of a sudden 4 more Bumpties had appeared behind the first one. Mario stared at them. All 5 penguins were dressed up in what appeared to be surfer attire. Their leader, Ferdinand apparently, was wearing a Hawaiian shirt and a red baseball cap, on backward of course, along with a dark pair of sunglasses. He just then seemed to notice Mario. Whoa, sorry dude, he said quickly. Didn't you know you were busy chatting it up with the Merle? Mario, allow me to introduce my acquaintance Ferdinand and his friends. Merlin sighed. They're always here paying me a visit. They say I'm the only one in Chronoside who can predict what the next gnarly ride will be, as he puts it. It's true, man, piped up a female Bumpty, giving Merlin a slap on the back. Not even the weatherman can predict the waves like this dude can. We owe him, like, a lot. Wow, that's terrific, Mario muttered. But we're kind of discussing something important with him right now. He was just about to tell us how to get to Golden Spur Ranch. That seemed to get Ferdinand's attention. Dude, is Golden Spur Ranch? Why the heck do you want to go there, man? He asked. I mean, have you ever seen the place? It's all sand and no surf. Total ripoff, man. The last time I went there, I was like, whoa, Hannah cut him off. You say you've been there before? Well, sure I have, and let me tell you, it was all... Then tell us how to get there, stupid. Gooblain battled at him. Then we can stop wasting time hanging around the stinkhole. I appreciate you not making fun of my abode while I'm here, thank you, Merlin said sternly. Mario, the crystal has always had a mysterious way of revealing the future. If Ferdinand thinks he can show you the way to your destination, perhaps you are meant to follow him. Mario shrugged. Sure, I guess. But Ferdinand, you're positive you know how to get there. Sure I am, dude. Why wouldn't I be? You can totally trust me, can't you tell? Mario turned skeptically back to his partners. All of them raised an eyebrow, including Stubba, which looked particularly adorable. Alright, he finally sighed. It's not like we have any other options. That's the spirit, dude! Ferdinand cheered, sounding far too excited. He grabbed Mario by the arm and yanked him out of the door, with his partners and the other Bumpty Boarders. Oh, that's a good name. Following close behind. Beautiful. Another drink. Alright. As Mario found himself pulled across town by the overly eager Ferdinand, he quickly found out just how excitable the Bumpty Surfer was. He practically babbled out his entire life story to the plumber, but particularly how he and his friends, who whose names were Brody, Kane, Nico, and Shelia. Shelia? I'll go with Shelia. Tended to frequent a far-off beach resort where the waves are famous. You should come visit sometime, man, piped up Nico. The tubular surface over there is most satisfactory. Ferdinand's even got a killer plan to work for us. We're gonna open up a surf shop there one day. Sheila chimed in. Ferdinand wholeheartedly agreed. It's gonna be the gnarliest, dude, he said proudly. We sell all kinds of boards and gear, man. Too bad that dream isn't quite a reality yet, though. Maybe because you're a dumb clown who fools around all the time instead of doing anything useful, Gublain offered. Hey now, don't talk bad about Ferdy, little dude, Brody admonished. He's our leader, man. We'll never be the world-famous Bumpty Borders without him. Bumpty Borders forever! All five of them shouted in unison, and then they broke out into a series of high fives and hip bumps amongst each other. Mario stared at them incredulously. I wonder how hot it gets over at that beach resort, he said to himself. Hannah looked at him. How come? Because I think they all have heat stroke. Oh fuck. Here we are, dudes and dudettes, Ferdinand happily announced. Mario looked up and realized they had been led over to a dark, shady-looking area of town, certainly different from the picturesque streets and mosaics he was used to seeing around here. He looked around suspiciously. This is how we go to Spur Ranch? How come you know about this place? Asked Stubba. Well, most little list of dudes, we found out about it from Merlin a while back, the Bumpty leader replied. We told him we were looking for a place with lots of sand. Most unfortunately, there wasn't any ocean to go with it. You get where I'm coming from, dudes? Yeah, how awful for you, Gublain said with a roll of his eyes. Okay, my amigos, check this out, Ferdinand announced, blithely oblivious to Gublain's remark. Everyone stepped back as he started flapping his arms, and much to Mario's surprise, managed to rise 7 feet above the ground. He landed on a ledge far above their heads, something no one in Mario's group would have been able to reach, and Mario suddenly noticed a exclamation mark block up that he hadn't seen before. Ferdinand jumped on the block, and as he did, a papery backdrop fell away from in front of the group. Behind it was a warp pipe. Sweet! Droned the other Bumpty Borders. Gublain smacked the one standing nearest to him. You're now clear to enter Golden Spur Ranch, dudes, Ferdinand said, cheerfully. He jumped off the ledge and joined the others. Just don't be too bum over the total lack of surfage. Remember, I warned you. Yeah, we'll remember that, Mario assured him. Good thing we didn't bring our boards along with us for nothing. Hey, are you guys gonna come with us? Stubba asked eagerly. Because we're saving the world. Maybe you guys could help. Don't give them any ideas, Gublain hissed at the clubber. Ferdinand just chuckled. Aw, that's really sweet of you dudes, but saving the world isn't really our MO, if you know what I mean. We just like kicking back and enjoying the surf, man, Sheila agreed. Well, thanks anyway, Mario said graciously, though he felt a little relieved. These guys didn't seem quite mature enough to be part of a world-saving endeavor. Well, we're heading back to the beach now. The ocean, she calls to us, man. Ferdinand gave Mario a very hearty slap on the back, knocking the plumber over. Good luck on your world-saving thing, most noblest of dudes. And remember, the Bumpty Borders got your back 24/7, man. Just call us when you need us. Bye-bye, guys, Stubba called as the surfers took off. Thanks, Ferdy, Hannah said with a giggle. Fight the man, dudes, Ferdinand yelled back over his shoulder. The Bumpty Borders continued waving back and shouting goodbyes at Mario's group until they had vanished into the crowd. What a load of nutcases, Gublain said distastefully. Let's get out of here before they change their minds and come back. Nah, dude, we're good not saving the world. Hey, at least they know their limits. Now, Gublain, even if they were a little out there, they helped us, Mario reminded him, and I wouldn't be surprised if we needed them again someday. Hannah was jumping urgently up and down in front of the warp pipe. Come on, guys, let's go. I want to see some cowboys and buy a harmonica and watch a rodeo and get in a gunfight. Right, alright. Okay, guys, let's get to it, said Mario. He jumped into the warp pipe, and his three partners quickly followed behind as they were transported away. Their next adventure was about to begin. Author's note. Whoa, do I have a kick-ass Chapter 3 coming up for you guys. It seems to me the Paper Mario series is in dire need of a Wild West themed story arc, so I'm fixing that right now, and I'm pretty freaking excited about the next partner too. Actually, let me think about that for a moment. Like a Wild Western theme story arc for Paper Mario. There was something kind of like that in the Origami King, but it was kind of funny because it takes place in like Shogun Studios, and the Western stuff happens in like a stage play. But I mean, I guess that counts as like Paper Mario doing a Wild West story in an official sense, and that happened like what, 11 years later. Yeah. Also, I just noticed that the 8D is supposed to be like a smiley face. Honestly, I don't see 8D that often, you know? Like, honestly, I kind of want to use that more. Like, it's kind of fun. Ah. But anyway, now we can actually start Chapter 3 proper. I'm gonna take a very short break because I want to get water. I've been drinking lemonade, and it's good, but I think I need something a little more smoother for my throat. So yeah, I'll be back very shortly. Pow. Alright, I'm back. I got water. Nice, cool water. I'm gonna take a sip right now. There we go. Ooh, yeah, that's good. Alright, let's start chapter 3. Woo! And actually, first off, let me check Discord real quick. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, yeah, no, it's all good. Alright, let's get started. Chapter 3. Hello back. Hello everything. Hello meow. Hello. Chapter 3. War of the Wild West. www. Golden Spur Ranch. 10 o'clock a.m. Hannah was unable to contain her excitement as a group of 4 emerged from the warp pipe and arrived at their destination. Oh, sorry. I wonder if we're gonna see those bumpty border dudes again. I imagine they may pop up in a future chapter, maybe, but who knows? Oh my gosh! Look at this place, you guys! It's so cool! She gushed, scampering around joyfully. It's just like I imagined. It's like we walked right into a movie. Yeah, the most cliché movie in the world, Gooblain sniffed. Sure enough, Golden Spur Ranch was everything you would expect from an old Wild West town. There were rows of rickety wooden buildings lining either side of the unpaved, dusty street. Just from what they could see, there was a saloon, a general store, a blacksmith's, and a few houses as well. There were also a few hitching posts outside the buildings where people could bring their trusty steeds, which, from the looks of it, were Yoshi's. Of course, that's perfect. And of course, just about everybody was wearing a cowboy hat. Come on, you guys, let's go sightseeing, Hannah cried urgently, tugging on Mario's wrist. I want to see the whole town and get lots of pictures. Hannah, calm down for a second, Mario said firmly, removing her hand. Remember, the only reason we're here is to get clearance to muster mines. We really don't have any time to waste. Mario, time doesn't move, remember? The Hannah sis joked. We have all the time in the world to waste. Now hurry up, you guys. Mario was unable to stop Hannah as she dashed off down the street, looking absolutely thrilled. Having no choice, the other 3 followed after her, albeit at a walking pace. Stubba was looking around the town in interest, while Gooblain, like always, looked like he could have cared less. Hannah was racing along, laughing and cheering, when all of a sudden she skidded to a stop and backpedaled several steps. She stopped in front of a long dark alley between 2 buildings, and her eyes grew wide. Calamari Desert be like Calamari Desert? Is that from Splatoon? I haven't actually played a lot of Splatoon, so I'm not familiar with locations, but let's see. Mario! She cried, jumping up and down to get his attention. Hurry over here! Quick, quick, quick! Completely dumbfounded by her behavior, Mario dashed up to her and looked down the alley where she was pointing, still fidgeting in excitement. Oh, I see it. Hovering down at the end of the alley was a familiar-looking group of rainbow-colored sparkles. Huh? Within moments, Mario had emerged from the alley holding the Luma in his hands, assuring that they were about to bring it back home. It's the Western Desert track with a train and Mario Kart. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I don't play Mario Kart, so I'm not too familiar with the game's maps. Oh wait, it's a Luma. Okay. Within moments, Mario had emerged from the alley holding the Luma in his hands, assuring it that they were about to bring it back home. And then I could get powered up too, right, Mario? Finally! Cheered Hannah, who was literally bouncing up and down around him. Gooblain was looking even more ticked off at her than usual, if that was possible. Sorry? No need to say sorry. It's cool. Walking up the street a little ways, they finally found a star pedestal just to the left of the entrance to the general store. Just as the previous ones had done, the Luma leaped out of his hands and perched right on the on a pedestal, promising it would increase the power of one of Mario's partners out of thanks. Hanner eagerly stepped forward, and the Luma began twirling around until a shower of sparkles fell around her and engulfed her in light. Hanner was upgraded to Super Rank. She could now use Shrink Hammer to decrease enemy sizes, dropping their attack power. Aw, that's it? She sighed as the Luma shot off into the sky. No pinball power for me? Pinball power? Personally, I think being able to shrink people is pretty cool, Mario offered. Yeah, I guess. Alright, so we finally got that taken care of, Gooblain said in a huff. Now can we please get out of Hicksville here before somebody busts out the dueling banjos? Aw, but I want to see the whole town, Stubba protested. Hanner said it would be really cool. Mario sighed. Hanner, Stubba, I know you're excited and everything, but we didn't come here to go sightseeing. We have a job to do. Fine then, you go to Mustard Mines. Stubba and I are going to go buy some rock candy. Isn't that right? Yeah! The little clubber cheered as he and Hanner raced inside his store. Gooblain just shook his head. Much as Mario hated to admit it to himself, Golden Spur Ranch was looking more and more fun the longer he looked at it. Everybody seemed to be having a good time, and surely a place like this had plenty of things to do. But he couldn't waste any time. There was a Sun Soul hidden out there somewhere, and it was his job to find it. As much as he wanted to, he couldn't goof off. At least he told himself that until he noticed the corral. Oh, wait, fellas, came a raucous voice from the outer edge of town. This has been one exciting day, I'll give you that. But still, we ain't found one soul man enough to ride Dusty, the roughest, toughest steed this side of Mustard Mines. Gooblain squeezed his eyes shut. Who's making all that racket? Curious, Mario looked down the adjacent road that led away from the main street, and off to a barren patch of land on the outskirts of the town. There was a large group of people standing outside a circular wooden fence, and standing inside of it was a very large, ferocious-looking red Yoshi with a saddle on his back. Come on, folks, don't tell me you're all chicken, shouted the announcer, a denim-colored bomb wearing an oversized cowboy hat. There's gotta be one fella here who could give old Dusty a run for his money. I'll go easy on you. Oh, the Yoshi's speaking. I'll go easy on you, I promise. The Yoshi laughed jovially. Mario blinked. Huh, looks like they're having a rodeo or something. Right on cue, Hanner and Stubba came barging out of the store, already with their faces smeared with sugar. Did you say rodeo? Hanner shrilled. Let's go, guys! She took off like a rocket over to the corral, with Mario, Gooblain, and Stubba struggling to keep up with her. She shoved a group of observing spectators out of the way to get a front row view as a very tough-looking Toad clambered onto Dusty's back. Now, you have the rules of the rodeo, folks. This fella's gonna stay on Dusty for 8 whole seconds. The Bomb announced as Mario, Gooblain, and Stubba shoved their way up next to Hanner. Think you can handle it, partner? You kidding? Chuckled the Toad. I rode tougher steeds than this back when I was a cloud of spores. Hanner blinked. Mario? That's not really how toads reproduce, is it? No, Hanner, that's just an expression. At least, I'm pretty sure it is. Alright, you varmint, let's see what you got, said the Toad, digging his spurs into Dusty's flank. Gideon! Wow! He managed to hold on for about 3 seconds before the ferocious bucking Yoshi sent him flying off, crashing into the crowd and bowling several people over. Everyone else groaned. Maybe our front row seats weren't such a good idea, Hanner decided. Aw, what a shame, folks, the Bob sighed. Come on now, old Dusty's getting bored over here. There's gotta be somebody here worthy of this magnificent steed. Mario failed to notice Stubba's eyes growing wide in fascination until it was too late. I'll do it, the little clubber shouted, climbing over the fence and racing over to the Yoshi. Mario did a double take. Stubba? Stubba! Get over here right now! Well, looky here, fellas, the Bob laughed. You really think you can ride Dusty over for 8 whole seconds, little partner? You bet I can. Sir, he's just a kid, Mario cried desperately, but nobody seemed to hear him. Stubba, don't! Hannah pleaded. Well, this ought to be interesting, Gwynplaine said smugly. Hannah glowered at him and whacked him with her hammer. You sure about this, kid? I ain't no minor leaguer, you know, Dusty warned Stubba as he struggled to climb onto his back. Don't worry, I'm not scared. Well, okay then. Dusty gave a shrug, and then, without a warning, he threw himself into the air, buckling and flailing wildly. I can't watch! I'm going to be sued for child endangerment! Mario wailed, covering his eyes. Oh, that is a great line from Mario. Hannah and Gwynplaine, on the other hand, were staring in interest. Mario, I think you do want to watch this, said the Hammersis. Huh? Mario uncovered his eyes in time to see Dusty racing around the outer edge of the corral, snorting like a stallion and throwing up a cloud of dust as he kicked the air and again. But Stubba was still holding on, and he was laughing. Whee! He cheered. Dang, folks, we got a miracle. That was 8 seconds already, the Bob-Omb gawked. Oh, I ain't done here yet, Dusty growled, refusing to be outdone. Suddenly, he began kicking twice as hard as before, jumping even higher and racing around even faster. He twisted madly around, frantically trying to throw the little clubber off. But still, Stubba clung on, bouncing up and down in the saddle and having the time of his short little life. I don't believe this, Mario exclaimed. We're gonna tell his parents about this, are we? Asked Hannah. Finally, poor Dusty looked too exhausted to even stand anymore. He stopped buckling and slowed to a stop, staggering around for a few seconds before collapsing onto the ground. His Yoshi-length tongue rolled. His Yoshi-length tongue lolled out of his mouth. Lolled? Like LOL? And he groaned. Aw, is it over already? Stubba sighed, climbing off. Folks, I don't believe what I'm seeing here, the Bob-Omb cried. Ain't nobody has ever outlasted old Dusty before. This little cowboy just shattered the town record. I did? Yay! Cheered Stubba. Let's hear it for him, folks. The newest legend of Goodersburg Ranch, shouted the Bob-Omb, and everyone in the crowd burst into a deafening round of cheers, whistles, and applause. I think you should tell his parents, Mario muttered to Hannah. Great moment. Alright. Okay. Now we have wasted enough time around here, Gwynplaine demanded some time later. Seriously, what happened to no sightseeing? I think Gwynplaine's right, you guys. We've had enough fun for one day, Mario sighed, carefully fingering the Power Plus badge that Stubba had won from the rodeo. If we have time after we get to Sun Soul, we'll come back. Now we should focus on getting to Mustard Mines. Well, I'm guessing we have to talk to that guy, Hannah decided, pointing directly ahead. Mario looked. The four of them had been walking up the main street towards the far end of town, in the direction they thought would lead them to the mines. Now they found themselves looking at a large wooden archway with a pair of horseshoes hanging decoratively from it. Below that was just a metal gate with a cross standing in front of it. Oh, just perfect. Another gatekeeper? Gwynplaine growled. The first one was annoying enough. Hannah scowled and whacked him a second time. Well, Mario, maybe if we explain our situation to him, we'll want to join us too, she offered half-jokingly. I doubt it. I don't think the universe likes me that much. Nonetheless, the four of them walked over to the gatekeeper, who had apparently traded in his standard-issue spear for a small gun he had in his holster. Oh shit! He raised an eyebrow at them as they approached. What could I do you gents for? He asked suspiciously. Well, actually, we were hoping to get to Mustard Mines, if that's all right, Mario explained. This is the way over there, isn't it? Sure as you're born it is. He shifted his stance, standing squarely in front of the gate. And sure as you're born, you fellas aren't going over there. Mario rolled his eyes. Somehow he predicted this. Ah, come on! How come? Asked Stubba. How come? Mustard Mines is a private property, that's how come. And you folks like you just blew into town. You could be all type of suspicious for all I know. Oh, come on. If we were planning on doing something suspicious, we'll be more subtle about it, Hannah assured him. I didn't think you knew what subtle meant, Gooblain scoffed, quickly ducking to avoid being whacked a third time. What my friends are trying to say is, we're looking for something really important over there, Mario said apologetically. It would really be in the whole town's best interest if you let us go. Uh-huh. The gatekeeper didn't look at all convinced. Well, if you're really so dead set on going, partner, I'll tell you this much. We can't get through here without the sheriff's permission. You find him and he gives you the okay, I guess I'll let it pass. Perfect. Thanks so much, Mario said graciously as the gatekeeper pointed them in the direction of the sheriff's office. If that guy didn't let us go, what makes you think the sheriff will? Gooblain grumbled as they headed out. As always, Gooblain, we don't really have any other choice. Anyway, I'm sure it'll be reasonable and at least hear us out. Unfortunately, they didn't end up quite so lucky. Mario rapped on the door, and there was no answer. He frowned, knocked again, and still nothing. Finally, he tried to open the door himself, only to find it was locked fast. Just perfect, said Gooblain. Not a very responsible guy, is he? Hannah remarked. Not knowing what else to do, the foursome walked back over to the gate. Predictably, the gatekeeper didn't look too pleased to see them again. The sheriff's not even there, genius. It's locked, Gooblain announced. The gatekeeper actually looked surprised. Ain't he there? He wondered. Boy, I just saw that fella a few minutes ago. Well, I reckon he's just off doing rounds or some such. He'll be back eventually. Well, we really don't have time to wait around to get his permission, Mario implored. Can we just not and say we did? The gatekeeper looked between the four of them, whose expression ranged from pleading to completely apathetic. Look, he finally sighed, you folks seem nice enough, but rules is rules. I gotta stay here and guard this here gate, and that's a fact. And I don't reckon the sheriff would take it too kindly if I shirked off on my job just for you fellas. Is he really strict? Asked Hannah. Oh, I'll tell you, that fella's married to the law. An iron fist of justice he is. Stubba frowned. He sounds mean. Ah, he's tough but fair. So long as he stay on his good side. But anyway, my point still stands. You ain't got his permission. I ain't moving from this gate. Alright. Thanks anyway. Mario sighed, finally admitting defeat. He turned and walked away from the gate, his partners following after him. This is always gonna happen to us, Gooblain griped. Just what are we supposed to do now? Ah, quit worrying so much, said Hannah. I'm sure we could think of some other way to get past that guy. I could maybe break the gate open, Mario, Stubba said helpfully, holding up his club. Mario smiled. Thanks, Stubba, but I'd rather not do anything that's going to get us in trouble, especially if the sheriff is really that strict. We better just wait for him to show up. Ooh, boy. Sippy. Alright. To make a long story short, he didn't show up. Alright, this is getting ridiculous, Mario decided. Nobody in town seems to know where he is. I'm going to stop by in the saloon and see if I can get any info. Ah, just like in the movies, Hannah said with relish. Relish? Getting info from suspicious characters in a shady old saloon. Alright, right. Which is exactly why I need you three to stay out here. Hannah frowned. Aw, come on. That's no fun. I'm serious, Hannah. It might not be safe in there. You guys just wait here until I came back out. Hopefully it won't be long. Oh, fine. The hammer sis sign, Stubba looking equally disappointed. Mario meant what he said though. Just from passing by the place, the saloon didn't seem nearly as friendly as the rest of the town. Hold on. Without his partners, Mario walked across the street over to the saloon. He took a deep breath in front of the entrance, then pushed open the swinging wooden doors and walked inside. The first thing he was aware of was how dark it was. And smoky. The only source of light was a dimly lit chandelier on the ceiling, which he only noticed after he had finished coughing. As soon as his eyes adjusted to the dimness, he saw that the saloon was full of circular tables, around which many gruff-looking guys were gathered with hands full of playing cards. There was a bar with several stools lined up, and a grumpy-looking toad doling out drinks. Far in the black corner, a Dugan in a barbershop outfit was pounding on an old honky-tonk piano. Mario gulped. Already, he was starting to feel like this was a mistake. Very aware of the numerous pairs of eyes that were following him, he anxiously walked across the saloon over to the bar and slid onto one of the bar stools. The bartender narrowed his eyes at the plumber. What was he thinking? If anyone here knew about the sheriff, they weren't the types who were going to tell him to him. Well, hey there, crooned a female voice from next to him. Startled, Mario jumped and found himself looking at the female toad with a lot of makeup on. She was wearing a tight-fitting red dress with black lace and had a few feathers sticking out of her cap. Hi, Mario muttered, turning away to look at the table. What's a fine fellow like you doing in here all alone? She persisted. My name's Flirty. Flirty? Oh, Flirty, okay. My name's Flirty. Why don't you buy me a nice super soda, huh? I'm sorry, but I'm not here for anything like that, Mario replied shortly. I'm just trying to meet the sheriff. Flirty snorted. Well, he ain't in here, that's for sure. He's been trying to shut this place down. Think it's bad for the town's image or some bull. Well, can you at least tell me where I can find him? Mario asked in exasperation. In response, Fleur grabbed the shocked Mario by his overalls and pulled him over to a nearby table, where a group of other toads and bonbons were in the middle of a heated card game. They all looked up and raised their eyebrows at the sight of the flustered plumber. This feller here says he wants to meet the sheriff, she told them. You know you nice boys can help him out, right? The card players all looked between each other and snickered. Mario began to wish he was somewhere very far away. Sure, partner. We might could tell you how it's to meet the sheriff, said the toad dealer, who was sitting on the opposite side of the rectangular table from the others. What say you play us in a little card game? If y'all beat us, we'll tell you whatever you want. Fine, Mario groaned, deciding he had gone in too deep to get out of this now. He pulled up a chair and sat between two of the players. The game is Faro, gentlemen, the dealer announced, shuffling all the cards. I trust you're all familiar with that game? I'll figure it out. Ooh, Mario, are you playing Crazy Eights? Mario briefly glanced over his shoulder, then did a double take and spun around. Goomblane, Hanner, and Subbut were all standing innocently behind him. What the? You guys! What are you doing? You're all three too young to be in here. Sorry, Mario, but Subbut had to go to the bathroom, Hanner said apologetically. Mario, I gotta pee! whined the little clubber. Okay, fine. I think there's a bathroom back there, Mario sighed, waving them off towards the back of the saloon. The three of them immediately took off. Oh boy. As the game of Faro got underway, Mario slowly but surely got the hang of the rules. There were pictures of 13 cards on the table, one spade of every of every rank, and the players would bet on one or more cards by sliding a stack of coins next to it. The dealer then discarded the top card in the deck and revealed the next card, or losing card. Regardless of what suit it was, he collected all bets that had been placed on the same week. He'd been placed on that rank. Wait, I just lost track. What? Okay, he then drew the next card, or winning card, and paid out all bets that had been placed on that rank. Then it started over, with a new round of bets being placed. It was simple but fast-paced, and Mario counted himself lucky they came up with a lot of coins. He wasn't so good at card games. So, why are you so intent on meeting the sheriff anyway, Greenhorn? The dealer asked Mario sometime later. I don't reckon he has time to waste on the likes of you. It had come to a crucial point in the game. There were only 3 cards left in the deck, and the players were betting on their order in which they would be drawn. If anyone guessed correctly, the payout would be fantastic. I just need his permission to go to Mustard Vines, Mario replied curtly. You probably wouldn't understand why. I only even need to talk to him for about 2 minutes. which is likely 2 minutes more than he's willing to give ya, the Bob-omb seated right next to him remarked. A no-name drifter like yourself wanting to go to Mustard Mines for no good reason? Not a chance. Mario shook his head as he did, slid a stack of coins under the table, deciding it was best not to argue. Look, I want you to make a good impression with him. If you had told me where he is, can you at least tell me what he's like? Well, I can tell you he's single-handedly cleaned up the crime in this here's town, the dealer replied in a warming voice. He's a dangerous man if you're down the wrong side of the law. Yeah, I kind of got that impression already, but I swear I'm not planning on doing anything illegal. Yeah, sure you ain't. Now you're gonna call it for what? Mario realized they were waiting for him to guess on the order. 794? The dealer nodded, and all the players leaned forward and watched with bated breath as he slowly and dramatically reached for the 3 remaining cards. Mario's heart was pounding in his ears. He had far more at stake here than anyone else. With one flick of the wrist... Wait. Okay. With one flick of the wrist, he flipped the cards over. There were the 7 of clubs, the 9 of diamonds, and the 4 of hearts. The dealer blinked. Well, what'd you know? I won? Mario exclaimed. Ha! I won! Terrific! He laughed in relief as the other players started muttering. I don't believe it. I never win at cards. Alright, now could guys tell me... Wait a minute. Mario froze. The dealer was bustling in rage as he reached down and picked up the 7 of clubs. There was a hole punched right in the club center. What's the matter? You dirty cheater! The dealer slammed the card back down on the table. The dealer slammed the card back down on the table. So that's how you guessed it. Mario was freaking out. What? It wasn't me! I don't even get how this game works! I knew there was something shady about you. The dealer roared accusingly. To Mario's horror, he suddenly wound up and swing his fist directly at the plumber. Mario yelled and ducked out of the way at the last instant. And the dealer hit the bombman standing directly behind him. What the? Watch where he's swinging that thing! The injured bombman bellowed, lighting his fuse and throwing himself at the dealer. At least he tried, but the dealer quickly sidestepped him and caused his attack to collide with a random Goomba who had been walking by. The bomb exploded and sent both of them tumbling head over heels across the floor and crashing into the leg of the nearby table, overturning the whole thing, and sending the drinks, cards, and coins flying across the land. Hey, you pay for that! Shouted someone who'd been sitting at the table, charging at them in a rage. The others at the table were so furious at losing their prospective earnings, they started swinging empty bottles around, bashing anyone who got to close. And the next thing Mario knew, he was caught up in a ballroom brawl. Somebody get me out of here! He screamed, ducking under a table and covering his head. All around him, people were throwing punches and smashing bottles, and exploding in the case of the bombs. And all the furniture was being jostled violently around as people continuously crashed into it. The angry shouts filling the smoky air were so loud, Mario couldn't even hear himself think. The pianist in the corner noticed this happening, and rather than doing something useful, he began pounding out a much faster, more frantic tune that fit better with what was going on. You gotta be kidding me, Mario groaned. Several of the saloon goers, including Flirty, were crowded off in a corner of the room, looking utterly terrifying. Not this again! What do we do? Somebody get the sheriff, quick! Mario's blood froze when he heard that. No, don't! He shouted pleadingly. The last thing he needed was for the sheriff to catch him in the middle of something like this. He had to get out of here before it was too late. Finally, Gooblain, Hannah, and Subba, alerted by all the noise, came racing back from the bathroom area and conveyed the scene. Clubba gasped and clung to Hannah in fright. What the heck is going on? Hannah cried. Who cares? It's awesome! Gooblain laughed, and faster than you could say headbonk, he had thrown himself at the nearest saloon patron. Oh, damn. Gooblain, you blockhead! Hannah screamed, and within seconds she and Stubba were enveloped by the brawl. Oh no! Guys! Mario shouted, leaping to his feet and attempting to run to their aid. It didn't work out, though, as he was instantly swept up in a flurry of punches and throws surrounding him on all sides. He whipped away in fear as he felt himself being shoved back and forth, tossed helplessly around, his frantic actions drowned out by the sounds of shattering glass and fists connecting with faces, no longer with any idea of where he was or what was happening. And then came the sound of the saloon doors opening, slamming open. Everyone froze. From where he abruptly found himself sprawled on the ground in an uncomfortable position, facing away from the door, Mario started to panic. Everyone, including the pianist, had immediately stopped, and what they were doing had cautiously turned to face in the noise. Even his partners seemed to have forgotten that they were in a fight and were not staring at the doorway in wide-eyed sight. This can't possibly be good. Though he knew who it must be, Mario ever so slowly turned his head and followed their gaze, looking up at the person who was now standing in the doorway. Whoever he was definitely the sheriff. That much more was obvious by his star-shaped badge, the critical gaze he had cast upon the room, and the way the entire saloon had fallen quiet at the sight of him. But he was the very last species Mario had expected him to be. What in tarnation is going on in here? Mario was looking at a bandit. Ooh, I like bandits. Alright, let me start chapter... Hold on. Part 2? Yeah, part 2. Hold on. I'm actually gonna get a snack real quick, so I'll be back shortly. Alright, I'm back. I got so let's start chapter 3 part 2. Yeah, I got chicken, so something good to eat while I'm reading the story. Hold on. Hell yeah. The hoe's back. Hoe's not scared. Alright. Chapter 3, Part 2. Hi back. Oh, you meant to say hi. That's funny. Author's note. I always look forward to updates when Mario gets a new partner. Enjoy. Dude, spoilers? Damn it, author. That was not cool. Anyway. Go to the Spur Ranch. 10 o'clock a.m. Well, this majorly stinks. Mario, Gooblain, Hanner, and Stubba were all sitting in a small jail cell that was part of the building complex that also contained the sheriff's office. The others at the saloon had been very quick to point out Mario as the instigator of the brawl. And despite how much he had protested to the contrary, the sheriff had thrown him and his friends in a cell fast enough to make the plumber's head spin. Things can't ever go easily for us, can they? Mario sighed, staring at the ceiling. Gooblain was pacing back and forth in agitation. Hanner was gazing at her shoes, and Stubba was crying. But I don't want to be in jail, she sobbed helplessly. I don't want to be a bad guy. Thankfully, Hanner knew just what to say. Stubba, you're not a bad guy, she assured him. Sometimes good guys get thrown in jail because the person who put them in there is bad. That seemed to calm him down a little. Really? So you mean the sheriff guy is bad? Yeah, and once we get out of here, we're kicking his butt. You mean after we get his permission to go to the mines? Mario sighed, although that was seeming like an increasingly unlikely prospect. I'd rather not get on his bad side any more than we already are. I just can't believe he's a bandit, Hanner remarked. I mean, don't they usually break the law? That's the craziest thing I ever seen. I've seen a cheap limp conductor, Mario said offhandedly. Hanner rolled her eyes. Oh please, Mario, there's tons of those. Mario blinked. There are? Alright, that's it. Gooblain suddenly snapped, spinning around to face him. I'm sick of all this yapping. Can we get out of here or can't we? I don't know, Gooblain. I'm open to any ideas. Breaking the law? It would be crazy enough. Yeah, I know, right? Like, it's not... Oh, man. I like how Hanner was like, hey, don't worry, Stubba. Sometimes the people that put you in prison are evil. And I mean, she's not wrong, I guess. Mario trailed off as he felt his eyes being drawn to the corner of the cell. There was a rather large crack in the wall that he hadn't noticed before. There's always cracks in the walls in Paper Mario. He got up and walked over to it, looking intrigued. Hey Stubba, come over here a second. The clubber immediately came up to him, and he pointed at the crack. Do you think you could break the wall with your club right here? Huh? Oh sure, Mario. Mario stepped back as Stubba braced himself. Then bashed the wall with all of his strength. He immediately buzzed a small hole in the wall as it crumbled away, throwing up a cloud of dust. Ha! Terrific! Hanner cheered as Stubba looked proud of himself. Freedom, here we come! Just remember, guys, be quiet. Mario warned them as they all crowded around the hole. We don't want to get caught. By the way, Zeta, since you're here, I actually had this thought when I went away to get a snack. Did you hear me in like the last half hour or so, or did I accidentally mute myself and I was reading a chunk of chapter 3 on mute? I just want to be clear on this. Because my headphones, how they worked is that it actually has a mute button on it, so I could press it like this. And just like that. I heard you until you went on your break. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Because it would be really funny and kind of sad that, like, if I upload this on YouTube, you just get, like, half hour of nothing. One by one, they filed through the hole and came out in a hallway on the other side. There were only a few doors, and thankfully, it was deserted apart from the four of them. Alright, now if I remember right, the door at the end leads back outside, Mario decided. Now guys, listen. After that debacle, the sheriff isn't going to listen to a thing we say, so I think the best thing to do would be to get out of here as fast as we can and get over to Mustard Mines on our own. How do we do that? Asked Canner. I'm Super Mario, remember? Well, think of something. And so the four of them sneaked down the hallway as quietly as they could, although there doesn't seem to be much need. They were fortunate enough not to run into anybody else. Mario realized that breaking out of jail had been easier than he expected. Hold on. Oh. Sorry. And so, the four of them sneaked down the hallway as quietly as they could, although there doesn't seem to be much need. They were fortunate enough not to run into anybody else. Mario realized that breaking out of jail had been easier than he expected. Our luck might finally be turning around, he thought hopefully. Awesome! We made it! Hannah said in relief, breaking the silence as they finally reached the door at the far end. Alright guys, let's hurry, said Mario, yanking the door open and ushering Gooblane and Steppa through. He immediately followed after them and stopped dead. This is great! Nobody stops Team Mario! Hannah gloated as she walked in after them, especially that some dumb bandit and his dumb... Aw, crap! Oh, damn, you know this is serious when they say crap. Oh, fuck. They weren't outside. They had barged directly into the sheriff's office, and the sheriff himself was sitting at his desk. He did not look very happy to see them. What in blazes? He bellowed, slamming his hands down on the desk and jumping to his feet. You're all those no-good, brawl-starting varmints I had just locked up. You telling me you busted out? Sure looks like it, doesn't it? Gooblane said sarcastically, narrowly dodging another whack from Hannah. Mario, on the other hand, was taking this opportunity to get a good look at the sheriff. He had seen blue, red, green, even purple bandits before, but this one was orange, which he was pretty sure was a first. He had a brown cowboy hat and a matching vest, on which was pinned his immaculate polished sheriff's badge. A coiled length of rope was hanging on his sides, and sticking from his mouth was a long stalk of wheat. He was also glaring at them rather threateningly. Well, as long as their cover was blown, the only thing to do was to try and reason with him. Alright, listen, Mario said uneasily, starting to sweat and backing away. We're sorry about coming in here. We didn't mean to bother you. It's just, we really had to get out of that cell. There's been a big misunderstanding. Oh, I reckon it's been a misunderstanding on your end, the sheriff growled, marching forward and prodding Mario in the chest. Did you fellas even realize what you've done? Ain't no one has ever busted out of prison under the watch of Sheriff Snatchel before. Sheriff who? Asked Mario before it dawned on him. Oh wait, that's your name. You're darn right it is. Not that that's any of your business, you common criminals. Criminals? Look who's talking. You're a bandit. Gooblane scoffed at him. Mario smacked himself in the forehead. That was very clearly the wrong thing to say, as Snatchel immediately narrowed his eyes dangerously at the Goomba. That's not what he meant, Mario cut in. What he meant was, I mean, we just thought it was interesting that you're the sheriff, you know, since you were a bandit and everything. That didn't seem to make things much better. Don't you think I get enough flack for that already? Snatchel said impatiently. So I rather enforce the law than break it. That ain't a crime. As a matter of fact, it's by definition the opposite of a crime. Okay, let's everybody calm down. Hannah said quickly, sensing things were flying out of control. Look, Mr. Sheriff Snatchel, sir, we're really sorry about the whole thing at the saloon, but that totally wasn't our fault. In fact, the only reason we're here in town is because we wanted to talk to you. Yeah, she's right, Mario joined in. We need to go over to Mustard Mines, and we were told you're the one to talk to about that. Snatchel just folded his arms. You really think I'm that thick, do ya? He remarked. Mustard Mines? I ain't letting I ain't letting just anybody go over there, especially what's going on lately. What's been going on? Stubba asked curiously. Oh, don't act like you don't know. You're probably in league with those sidewinders. I'll admit you don't seem smart enough to be in their gang, but still. Who are you talking about? Mario demanded, ignoring the insult. Look, we just got here today, and we have no idea what's going on here. The sheriff looked impatiently at him. Alright, fine. I'll play your little game. He reached for a paper on his desk and headed out. Mario and his partners crowded around it and realized it was a wanted poster. The picture on it was that of a sinister-looking little Mouser with a cowboy hat and a black mask over his eyes. Who's that? Asked Stubba. That's just one of them. The Mouser gang is the worst bunch of thieves and scoundrels I ever had to deal with, and I just got word not too long ago that they took over Mustard Mines. They're looting all the town's gold out there, and they're roughing up anybody who gets in the way. Ain't no one has been able to stop them yet. Gee whiz, that's terrible, Hannah said sympathetically. But why am I telling you this? You probably know all about it, Snatcher growled, throwing the poster onto the floor. Why else would a bunch of shady fellows like you be wanting to go over there in the first place? You're their spies, ain't you? Just fess up. We're nobody's spies, Mario said firmly. We never even heard of these guys before. The reason we had to get over there has nothing to do with them. In fact, if you let us go, we could get rid of them for you. Right. Then do you mind telling me just what is so important over there? This has got nothing to do with you. You wouldn't get it, Goobling said firmly. Mario nodded. You probably wouldn't. This only concerns me and my friends. Just know we have to get over there as fast as... Just know we have to get over there fast if we want to get time to actually start moving normally again. And we can't have... Mario! Hannah cried, and when he heard his own words, he realized too late the mistake he made. His hands flew to his mouth. He just blurted everything out to the sheriff, like he'll ever believe the truth about what was going on. Not only would he have no idea what Mario was talking about, now the plumber sounded like he was completely crazy. He just blown their chance of getting to the mines once and for all. I mean, forget what I said about time not moving normally, he said quickly. Goobling groaned and looked ready to smack him. Much to Mario's surprise, though, Snatcher did nothing but stare at him in shock. Oh no, he groaned to himself. You gotta be joking me. You just gotta be. He threw his arms up in the air. This is plumb ridiculous. Do you have any idea how much of an idiot I look like right now? Not really, Hannah said in confusion. What's the matter? Stubba asked timidly. Hello, May. How you doing? I'm currently reading Paper Mario fanfic on March 10th, Mario Day. How are you doing? I hope you're doing good. I'll tell you what's the matter. First, a bunch of no accounts comes blowing right into town, starting up a brawl right under my nose. Then they somehow bust out of jail and try to feed me some bull hunky about wanting to go to Mustard Mines for some perfectly innocent reason. And now I'm actually forced to consider the veracity of their statement, on account that they're the only ones in this whole town, apart from yours truly, who seem to realize there's something weird about it always being the same dang time of day, he raged. I'm doing alright. I'm glad to hear that. I've been asking folks what they think about the sun being all frozen and whatnot, and they're looking at me like I'm some kind of nutter. What am I supposed to make out of... What the heck is wrong with you? Mario's jaw had dropped open halfway through the sheriff's rant. He turned to stare at his partners, who were all looking equally shocked, as though a silent understanding passed between all of them. Even Stubba seemed to realize what this meant. You mean you remember day and night and all that? Mario warily asked him. Don't you be getting all loopy on me too, Snatcher grumbled. He sighed to himself, massaging his head before turning back to them. Alright, you fella know what's going on with the sun, and why it ain't never nighttime around here no more? Mario nodded very slowly. Yeah, and we're trying to fix it. That's why we're going to Mustard Mines. Snatcher nodded much more firmly, seeming to make up his mind. Alright then, here's the deal. I'll let you go to the mines on one condition. I'm coming with you. That shouldn't have surprised Mario, but it did. You? But why? Well, for one, it's high time somebody took care of that Mouser gang, and it seems like I'm the one to do it. And seeing how I still don't particularly trust any of fellas, I'm coming with to keep an eye on you. I ain't letting you out of my sight as long as you're over there, he said sternly. And anyway, if you really are telling the truth and are going over there for some noble purpose, well then, I figure there ain't nobody gonna bother you if if you're getting an escort from the sheriff himself, don't you reckon? I guess we don't get a say in this, Gooblain grumbled. Snatcher frowned at him. No, you don't. I'm coming whether you like it or not, so I suggest we get a move on. And with that, he grabbed Mario by the overalls and hauled him out the door, leaving the plumber to wonder just what he had gotten himself into now. Snatchel joined Mario's party. Sheriff Snatchel is a gritty, no-nonsense bandit cowboy who upholds the law at any cost, although his most useful ability may conflict with his moral code. He was an inborn talent for finding any nearby items, even if they're hidden or invisible, and he could use his lasso to grab them immediately. In battle, he could use his grab dash attack to damage an enemy and steal its held item, or use lasso to rope one enemy and throw them out of the fight. Cool. I like this kind of setup where initially it seems like this sheriff dude is just kind of like this nuisance character, but no, he's actually like another partner, and I think that's cool. All right. Now that they knew they would have to deal with a notorious gang of thieves in order to rescue the Sun Soul, Mario's team decided they'll be better stock up on supplies before they left. They stopped by the general store and everyone emptied their pockets buying items they thought would be useful. Everyone except Snatchel, anyway. He just leaned against the doorway with his arms folded, never once taking his eyes off of them. He clearly didn't consider himself to be part of their group, just someone who was watching them to make sure they didn't try anything funny. You know, Mario, we're gonna have to tell him eventually, said Hannah as she noticed the plumber glancing over at him. You mean that he's just become the... You mean that he's just become the incarnation of one of 12-time warping deities from a higher realm of existence? Asked Mario. Somehow, I don't think he'll buy it, especially coming from us. But we're gonna go tell him about the Sun Soul, right, Mario? Stubba piped up. Maybe we can show him ours, then he'll believe us and know we're not bad. Yeah, it'll probably help our credibility if we actually told him what it is we're looking for, Hannah agreed. Mario sighed, leaning against the counter. It's not that simple, you guys. If he trusted us a little more, maybe he'll believe us. But the way things stand, we're going to have to win him over before we can tell him anything. I knew I wouldn't believe it if I were him. Hannah and Stubba looked uneasily at each other, then followed after Mario as he gathered up his stuff and trudged over to the door. He's really started to miss the days when his partners joined him just because they liked him. No strings attached. As they left the store, Mario noticed that Snatcher was now standing outside and talking intently to somebody else. This newcomer looked something like a little Mouser himself, but was slightly taller and more humanoid. Mario recognized him as a rat funk, something he hadn't seen in quite a while. Oh, are rat funks like those tall, like, mouse people that were in TTYD? That's cool. Ooh, sorry. Who's this? He asked as he walked over. This here is my deputy, Bronson, Snatcher replied. I was just telling him how I got to take a leave over to the mines for a while. He's in charge until I get back. You sure you want to leave, Sheriff? Bronson asked cautiously. I don't reckon I can handle things over here as well as you. Don't you worry about that. I trust you. And anyway, I'm gonna send those Mouser packing faster than a tumbleweed in a twister. I'll be back before you know it. Well, if you say so, the deputy agreed. Noticed Mario and doffing his hat to him. Good luck out there, partner. The desert is not a safe place, and don't be giving the sheriff any trouble. Wouldn't dream of it, Mario replied in utter seriousness. With nothing else to take care of, the newly expanded party headed back over to the gate that would lead out of town. The gatekeeper was still standing there idly, and you can imagine his surprise when he noticed the sheriff leading the same annoying group from before straight over to him. Oh, Sheriff, sir, he explained, straightening up as quickly as he could. Is there a problem with these folks? They had some dang fool idea in their heads about going to the mines, and I told them they weren't allowed. Whatever they did, I swear it ain't my fault. I ain't... sorry I was away for a moment. Yeah, no worries at all. Like, you're not... Like, don't worry if you guys are away at all. Like, it's all cool. Oh, calm down already, would you? I know all about that, Snatcher replied shortly. We already had a talk about them wanting to go to the mines. The gatekeeper looked relieved. Oh, you did? Perfect. I'm sorry they bothered you, sir, but somebody had to set them straight, and there ain't nobody better than you. I mean, everybody knows that place is off limits, which I was trying to explain, but they just, as I was saying, I'm taking them there myself. The gatekeeper was stunned. Wait, what? You mean you're actually letting them go, and you're going with them? That's right. I'm going over there to lay a beat down on that good-for-nothing Mauser gang, like I should have done a long time ago, and this Mario fellow says he's willing to help. The gatekeeper stared incredulously at Mario, who grinned sheepishly in reply. You sure that's a good idea, sir? Don't you worry about me, I got it all under control, so why don't you open that gate for us? All of a sudden, the gatekeeper was looking even more uneasy than before. He started fiddling nervously with his hands, unable to look Snatcher in the eye any longer. Well, the thing about that, sir, he admitted, there was one other reason why I didn't let those fellas go. You see, I kinda ain't got the key anymore. Snatcher blinked. Come again? Yeah, I may have somehow dropped it on the other side of the gate. The gatekeeper shuffled out of the way, pointing through the bars. Sure enough, there was a large rusty key sitting in the dirt several feet away, well out of arm's reach. Snatcher turned to the gatekeeper in disbelief. How the heck did you manage that? He demanded. You plumb idiot! What am I hiring you for, anyway? What if this were an emergency? Does this mean we can't go? Stubborn asked concerned. No, nobody said that, the sheriff replied. After studying the key closely for a moment, he reached for a lariat at his side. I reckon I could take care of this. Mario, maybe it's time I showed you what I could do, huh? Mario and his other partners watched intently as Snatcher started twirling the lasso for a moment, then shot it between the bars of the gate. The lasso tightening around the key, and he yanked it back through the gate, catching it right out of the air. Whoa! Awesome! Hannah cheered, starting to clap. That was cool, Stubborn agreed. Goobly didn't look too impressed. Yeah, I could just nab just about anything with this here rope, Snatcher said with a shrug, unlocking the gate. If you think that'll ever be useful to you, just ask. Thanks. I'll remember that. Mario promised, walking through the gate as the sheriff pushed it open. His other partners quickly followed after him. I'll be back soon, with any luck. And in the meantime, Snatcher shoved the key back into the gatekeeper's hands. Can I trust that hanging onto a little hunk of metal is not too difficult for you? The gatekeeper looked completely flustered and embarrassed, and as Snatcher rolled his eyes and walked off, Mario couldn't help but laugh. Maybe having him around wouldn't be so bad after all. This is fun. Now, hold on a minute. I think the soundtrack is about to be done soon. Oh yeah, the soundtrack is almost over. Let me change the music soon. What do I go for? I'll go for some Mario and Luigi. Sure, why not? It's Paper Mario, but, you know, Mario and Luigi still counts as an RPG. Alright, cool. Let me know if the music is too loud. Alright. Mustard Trail, 10:19 a.m. As the group left town, they began following the trail through a barren desert area. Oh, hold on a minute. Gotta check something real quick. Alright. Mustard Trail, 10:19 a.m. As the group left town, they began following the trail through a barren desert area. It was featureless except for a few cacti and dried up shrubs here and there. Although as they quickly found out, there were also some new enemies to be found. Uh-oh, what are those things? Asked Hannah as they noticed a group of spiky balls rolling toward them at a breakneck pace. They looked sort of like curled up spinies, but were green and looked more organic. They're called cactorbs, Gooblang quickly announced after pulling out his phone. They always travel in groups, they love mowing people over, and in case you couldn't tell, you can't jump on them. Alright then. Mario decided as he pulled out his hammer and went to work on them, along with Hanner and Stubba. His partners had no trouble at all, and between the multi-throw and hyper-bounce attacks, they eliminated the opposing Cactorbs in record speed. Ha! That was no problem at all! Hanner cheered as she and Stubba high-fived. Right, Mario? Ah! Mario screamed from on the ground as the remaining Cactorb repeatedly jumped on him. You ain't been to the desert much, have you? Snatcher remarked. He obligingly stepped forward and lassoed the Cactorb, throwing a noose around it and flinging it far off into the distance. Whew, thanks, Mario sighed, getting up and dusting himself off. You ought to take better care of yourself, partner, the sheriff chided. If that little bugger gave you trouble, you really think you can handle it over in the mines? Hanner started grinning. If you didn't know better, I'd say you're actually worried about him. Ah, that's so sweet, Stubba laughed. Snatcher just fronted them. Oh, don't be thick. I just don't need any of you fellas getting hurt on my watch. Now let's go. As they continued trucking along, they had to deal with many more random Cactorb attacks. Mario was starting to wish he had a more powerful hammer, because the constant battling was wearing him down quite a bit. He was getting exhausted. Are we almost there? Stubba asked after some time. Shouldn't be too much longer, Snatcher decided. I reckon we just gotta... yo, hey, hello, Box of Clay, how you doing? I'm currently reading a Paper Mario fanfic called Paper Mario: The Temple of the Sun. I'm reading chapter 3 right now on Mario Day, Mar 10 Day, March 10th. How are you doing? I hope you're doing good. Let's see. Suddenly, he skidded to a stop. His eyes narrowed at something off in the distance, and he clenched his fists. What's the matter? Mario asked cautiously. The sheriff pointed at what he was looking at. That is... fine, happy Mario 10? Hey, glad you're doing good. Racing through the desert in the opposite direction as Mario's party were a duel of little mousers. They were both wearing ratty cowboy hats and black masks and bandanas, the signature of the Mouser gang. They were cackling greedily as they scampered along, each of them clutching an enormous gold nugget in their hands. Ha! What a loot that was! The first one laughed triumphantly. Them mustard mines are just ripe for the picking. This is the greatest heist we've ever done. Tell me about it. All the other stunts we pulled were fool's errands compared to this. The second one agreed. We'll all be set for life after this, and best of all, there ain't nobody who could stop us. Think again, you punks! Snatcher bellowed, storming over to them. Wait a minute, Mario groaned, clutching at himself as he struggled to follow him. Mario, are you okay? Hanner asked worriedly. The Mouser duo immediately jerked to a stop as they saw the group approaching them. Ah, no, it's the sheriff, the second one cried. We're doomed! No, we ain't. We ain't going down without a fight, the first one snapped, getting in on a battle stance. You asked for it, Snatcher growled, eager to oblige. Even though it was 5 against 2, the Mousers proved to be an incredibly tough fight. They moved so quickly they were almost impossible to hit, and more often than not, Mario's teammates ended up hitting each other by accident. Then they were open to a good hard smack from one of their opponents. Hold still, would you? Goomblaine snapped, trying to headbutt one of them and ending up with a face full of sand. Mario was faring the worst of all. The Mousers quickly noticed how weak he was and started getting up on him, ducking and weaving and smacking him around at every angle. Mario grimaced in pain and swung his hammer blindly around, failing to hit him even once. Stop hurting Mario! Stubba cried in alarm, trying in vain to distract them. Hanner was looking equally frightened, when suddenly an idea began to form in her mind. Mario, I got it! She shouted, racing over to him and shoving the Mousers out of the way as she grabbed him by the hand. Let's do it, okay? Mario looked at her and quickly understood. You got it, Hanner! They both raised up their hands. Second win! All at once, a rainbow-tinted wind began spiraling around Mario and Hanner, knocking the astonished Mousers away. As the wind surrounded them and finally rose up and away, Mario felt energy flooding into him once again. Whoa, that was so cool! Stubba cheered, jumping up and down. Snatcher's jaw dropped. What the heck just happened? Completely revitalized, Mario turned to face the Mousers with a wicked grin. Now, let's try that again, shall we? Both Mousers were freaking out. Dang it! This fellow's some kind of wizard! The first one cried. Now the tide of battle finally began to turn. Fueled with confidence, Mario started dodging every blow the Mouses threw at him before getting in several of his own. His partners were fighting valiantly and coming out on top. I think it's time you gave that gold back, you varmints, Snatcho finally shouted, charging at one of them and using a grab dash. Mario watched in surprise as he rammed into the Mouser and swiped the gold nugget out of his hands at the same time, leaving the thief stunned and out of commission. Wow, now that's a bandit, Hannah marveled. But I thought he didn't steal, Mario said in confusion. The remaining Mouser started panicking when he realized he was the only one left, and as everyone on Mario's team turned to glare at him, he finally dropped his gold nugget and threw up his hands. I give! You fellas win! He griped. Just take it! I don't want it anyway. Thank you kindly for that, Snatcher said calmly, grabbing the nugget and walking back over to the others. This ain't over, Sheriff, the Mouser snarled, grabbing his slightly out of it companion. You may have beaten us, but you never even get into the mines in one piece. The whole gang's over there, and we got guards set up all over. You ain't getting within a mile of that place. We'll see about that. I've never let a bunch of no-accounts like you stop me before, the sheriff replied threateningly. Without another word, the mouse scampered back in the direction he had come, dragging the other one behind him. Well, this might be a problem, Hannah grumbled. They got guards set up outside the mines? Man, we should have thought of that. How are we gonna get in now? Of all the times for the sun to go wonky on us, Snatcher sighed, turning to look up at the sky. It's dang near impossible to see out here when it's dark. If only it were night out, we could sneak past them no problem. I bet my badge on it. Mario and his partners looked at each other in interest. Oh, don't worry about that, Mario assured him. I think we have a way of taking care of that. But hey, Snatcher, you did a really good job stealing that gold back from those guys. Yeah, that was really cool, Stubba agreed. But I thought you didn't like stealing. For somebody who doesn't like stealing, you sure are good at it, Hannah remarked. Snatcher frowned at that, gazing at the ground and looking uncertain for the first time since Mario had known him. Yeah, well, that's something all bandits are good at, I reckon, he sighed. Seems like I've been good at swiping stuff ever since I was born. But it just doesn't sit right with me. I ain't a criminal, and I never wanted to be. But everybody thought I would, just cause of what I am, he shrugged. You get what I'm saying? Oh, of course, that makes perfect sense, Mario assured him, eager for this chance to get the newest member to warm to the group. But you know, the world's not always as black and white as you think. Stealing doesn't have to be a bad thing. Yeah, if you're doing it to fight bad guys, then it's a good thing, Stubba said eagerly. There is such a thing as doing the wrong thing for the right reason, you know, Hannah agreed. And if you're helping us, it's definitely for the right reason. Trust us. Snatcher looked back at them, still seeming unsure, but also slightly amused. Well, alright then, Mario. I reckon we're gonna need somebody who can nab that gold back from those no-good Mousers. If you really need me that bad, I suppose I could help you out once in a while. Mario grinned. But don't think I'll enjoy it, he added sternly. I'm only doing this for you fellas, and that's that. Now we're going to the mines, or ain't we? Oh, yeah, sure thing, Mario agreed, quickly following behind Satchel as he set off at a brisk pace down the trail. His other partners followed as well, looking slightly bewildered. Well, this will certainly be interesting, the plumber sighed to himself. I wonder if he'll be good to his word. I think he's okay, said a very young voice in his head. He might be kind of, strict, but that's just his job, right? Oh yes, he's a fine man. And handsome too, giggled the second voice. But not as handsome as you, my sweet little hunk of cheese. This is Miss Mose speaking, right? Yeah. Who's the first one speaking? I'm trying to think. Huh? Oh, thanks I guess, said Mario, feeling a little embarrassed. But you guys really think you'll be okay on this team, huh? Oh yeah, don't worry about that, Mario, the first voice replied. Once he, finds out you're not bad, he'll like you, 'cause you're the coolest. It's only a shame he doesn't like stealing, sighed the second voice. You should never be ashamed of your talents, I say. If I were there, I'd show him that. Mario smiled. Yeah, you try that and see how he likes it. Does Mario always talk to himself like that? Hannah whispered to Gooblain. I told you he was nuts, Gooblain muttered back. Hannah gave a light shrug, and together the five of them set off toward Mustard Mines. Not a word. Author's note. Not a word of the horrifically punny name of our sheriff friend. I suck at naming people. Okay. Your mouth must be dry reading out loud for so long. Do you have a water bottle with you? Yes, I do. I have it with me at all times. I just took a sip. But yeah, that was part 2 of chapter 3. This chapter has like how many parts? Like, oh, it has 5 parts. Okay, so this is an extra long chapter. Usually the previous chapters are like 4. So we have to take that into consideration. Yeah. Well, first off, actually, I'm a little hungry right now, so I'm gonna take a short break and eat some food. And it shouldn't take too long, hopefully, but I'll be back real soon. So yeah, I'll see you all. I'll be back soon. Oh, I'm eating chicken. Alright. I got my chicken. The chicken was good. And speaking of chicken, well, I don't know what else I would say in reference to me eating chicken, but yeah, let's just keep reading. Cowboys eat chickens in a Western settings. That's it. Oh, okay. Goob chicken has been eaten. Yeah. Alright. Author's note. Okay, this is getting completely redonkulous. When was the last time that I ever hear anyone use that word? My god. Why does the site no longer let hyphens show up? Now all my page breaks from all my stories are gone. I get to go back and reformat everything. Again. Fanfiction.net having a cringe moment, I see. Mustard Mines, 11 p.m. As luck would have it, the notorious Mauser gang was currently at large in both halves of the world. The dead still and darkness of night surrounded the entrance to Mustard Mines. They were composed of large hills that rose up out of the ground, and set into each one of them was a tunnel, supported by wooden beams that led deep down into the mines. Oh, there was a Mauser guard standing at each and every entrance. The rest of the gang was either out patrolling further away or inside the mines, excavating all the gold they could carry. This is boring, sighed one of the two guards standing in front of the easternmost entrance, who happened to be the same Mausers Mario's team had battled in Dayside. There ain't nobody fool enough to come over here. Why do we gotta stay out here while the other fellas get to have all the fun? Quit your whining, snapped the other guard. You can't be too careful with a heist like this. Ain't you ever heard about the sheriff of Golden Spur Ranch? If he ever got it in his head to get over there, we'll all be dead meat. The sheriff? The first one scoffed. Ain't you heard the news, partner? He's gone missing. Ain't nobody seen. I'm in a week now. Like he vanished off the face of the earth. You just wait. The second one replied darkly, not seeming moved by this information. If he ever chooses to show himself here, it'll take all of us to bring him down. And that's if he don't got friends with him. Silence fell between them again, and the first one began to stop paying attention, gazing off disinterestedly at the night sky. Not that it had ever been anything but night, of course. He completely failed to notice the putrid piranha emerging from the ground, silent as a shadow. Ooh, this character's back. Directly behind him. But he did notice when it bit him. Youch! He cried, jumping into the air as the piranha retreated into the ground. He spun around, looking furiously for an explanation, and when he found none, he rounded on his partner. What the heck was that for? He demanded. You didn't have to go and bite me to get me to pay attention. The other guard looked at him strangely. What are you blabbing on about now? I didn't do a thing to you. I've been over here this whole time. Yeah, sure you were, the first one muttered, turning away in a huff. The second one rolled his eyes and turned away as well, and so failed to see the second piranha emerging behind him and taking a chomp out of him. Ach! He yelped, grabbing himself in pain and whipping around in a frenzy. The piranha was long gone, of course. Now who's the one doing the biting? You yellow-bellied coward! You scared to face me like a mouse? What? I didn't do anything, the first guard shouted defensively. Don't you be blaming me for this? Well, there ain't nobody else here, genius. Who else could have been? Fighting to contain their frustration, the two guards angrily turned away from each other, glaring off in opposite directions. And both piranhas popped up behind them, each one biting one of the guards. Arr! They both bellowed as the piranhas ducked out of sight. They looked around, saw no one, and then glared at each other. That does it! They both screamed, and within seconds, they were rolling around the ground and swiping at each other, deserting the entrance to the mines and leaving it completely unchecked. What a fun little moment that was. Oh, wait a minute. I just remembered something. Oop! Didn't mean to do that. I just remembered something. There's one Discord channel that I haven't shared yet. Let me... I forgot to share this link in one of the Discord channels. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Alright, there we go. Alright, back to reading. And let me get water. There we go. Several yards away, the two putrid piranhas emerged from the ground next to a third one, and all three of them looked down at the person standing in front of them. Did we do good, Mama? Asked the first one. You did perfectly, replied the shadowy figure. Of course, it was none other than Miss Maisie, the enigmatic Crazy Daisy with an agenda unknown to all but herself. Those guards were even more foolish than I expected. The entrance is all clear now, right? Oh yes, Mama. Excellent. Maisie said to herself, her eyes flashing. And the Sun Soul is in there somewhere, just waiting to be taken. Now all I have to do is... Mama! Mama! One of the piranhas had suddenly noticed something from far away, and now it turned to its master with a look of panic. Mario's coming, Mama! He's coming right now! Hi, I'm Crazy Daisy! Maisie looked startled. What? Mario's coming? Now? Mario is coming. The three piranhas looked expectantly at her, waiting for an order. She glowered to herself, cursing this twist of bad luck. Well then, I suppose we better go say hello. Mario's party had warped over to Nightside some time ago, as soon as they seen the first guards patrolling a far distance away from the mines. They spent the last half hour sneaking cautiously past a seemingly endless group of Mousers, a task that would have been impossible during the day and was still not particularly easy now. Thankfully, Mario's plan had worked like a charm. They had finally made it over to the mines without getting caught, and they were currently crouching on top of a large hill where they had a good view of the whole place. Alright, Mario, Snatcho said in exasperation once he was sure nobody could hear them. Now do you mind telling me just what the doohickey of years was, and how the heck it made it night all of a sudden? Alright, Mario sighed. He'd been stalling for time when he insisted that they had to get over to the mines before anybody else. But there was no point in keeping secrets any longer. He could only pray the sheriff would believe him. Well, where to start? He wondered, turning to glance at his other partners. You know about the 12 Guardians, right? Snatcho gave him a strange look. You think I'm thick or something? How can you not know about them? Right, sorry, dumb question. Well, you're not going to believe this, but Kumblin and I, just last week, we saw somebody kill the 6 Guardians of Day. Snatcho just raised an eyebrow, chewing on a stalk of wheat. Yeah, you're right, I don't believe it. But it's true though, Stubba insisted. Why else do you think time is all messed up like this? Mario pressed. Without the Guardians of Day, the world was thrown so out of balance that it got split into a day half and a night half. And you've seen that yourself now, so you can't say we're lying about that. That seemed to get Snatcho thinking. Well, if that is true, and you're trying to fix it, then what are you fellas doing all the way out here? Well, now that the Guardians of Day are gone, there are 6 people from this world who are going to become the new ones. But they just can't do that without these things called Sun Souls. And one of those just happens to be inside the mines. Mario got a little nervous when Snatcho suddenly narrowed his eyes. Now, that's just bull, he said sharply. You really expect me to believe that yarn? You're telling me that you've just been going around picking up random people to be guardians from every which way? That's exactly what I'm telling you, Mario confirmed. In fact, we found 2 of them already, Hanner and Stubba. Snatcho turned to them in shock as they both smiled sheepishly at him. To add to their favor, Stubba pulled out his Sun Soul and held it out. Well, snap me and call me a sniffet. Maybe you fellas aren't lying, the sheriff muttered, staring in awe at it. Dang. We got us a real crisis if some lunatic went and killed those guardians. You don't get any idea who the next one is, do you? Oh no, we don't, said Hanner, stifling a smile. It could be anybody. Stubba looked at her in confusion. Huh. But I thought he broke off as Hanner whispered something in his ear. Oh yeah, it could be anybody, he agreed enthusiastically. Not surprisingly, Gooblain had chosen not to partake in this conversation. He was staring down at the mines from his vantage point, and suddenly he noticed something of interest. Listen, you guys, he announced. There's an entrance right down there that got no guards in front of it. We could sneak in from there. Huh? Mario and the others quickly crawled over to Gooblain and looked down where he was indicating. Sure enough, the easternmost entrance, the one closest to them, was completely unguarded. If they hurried, they had a good chance of running right in without being seen by anyone at all. Boy, talk about lucky, Hannah remarked. Or not, it might be a trap. Mario decided. There ain't no trap I can't take care of. Come on, said Snatchel, promptly standing up and striding down the hill. The others looked unsurely at each other, then followed him. Thanks to the perpetual darkness, not one of the other Mouser guards ever noticed them. Mario and the others reached the bottom of the hill and found the unguarded entrance right in front of them, eagerly inviting them inside. Alright, good job guys, we actually made it, Mario said with a smile. Now let's get in there and... He was abruptly cut off by a very familiar rumbling in the ground. Oh no, not again, not now, he groaned, covering his face in his hands. What's going on? Snatchel asked warily. He immediately got his answer as the 3 putrid piranhas came busting out of the ground, blocking the entrance. Stubba cried out in fright and ran behind Mario. Not these guys again, Hannah moaned, slowly stepping backwards along with the others. Am I going nuts, or is there something different about those guys? Asked Gablain. Mario realized Gablain was right. Now that he looked, the piranhas did look different from before. He was sure they were taller and their teeth looked larger and sharper. They each had little thorns growing out of their stems, along with a crown of poisonous-looking leaves surrounding their heads. In other words, they looked a lot stronger. Those fellers don't look none too friendly, Snatcher remarked, actually sounding nervous. Just wait till you meet their mama. She must be here too, Hannah said darkly. Correct as usual, came a familiar voice, and suddenly Maisie had jumped down from the roof of the tunnel and landed in front of them. Well, Mario, we meet again. I can't say I was looking forward to this. Yeah, me neither, Mario replied with a frown. Why do you keep following us everywhere? Following you? Maisie scoffed. I think you're mistaken. I go wherever the Sun Souls are. You're the ones who keep getting in my way. Gurblane was getting exasperated. Look, you crazy old bat. You're not gonna beat us to that Sun Soul. Why didn't you just give up? Maisie smirked at him. Give up? Maybe you haven't noticed, but my pets have grown much more powerful since our last meeting. I honestly don't think you stand a chance against them this time. Mario felt his gaze drawn back to the piranha standing loyally behind her, slavering in anticipation of a fight. Though it was hard to see in the darkness, he could have sworn the slobber was actually fizzling. What do you do to them? He exclaimed. Whatever it wasn't natural. That's none of your business, is it? Now, Mario, I'm only going to say this once. Go away, or I can't be responsible for what happens to you. Snatcher had had enough. Now look here, Missy, he said sternly, stepping forward. I don't know what business you think you got here, but I ain't gonna stand for it. There ain't nobody gonna be looted anymore going out of the mines as long as I'm here. And Maisie noticed him for the first time, and she rounded on him with venom in her eyes, catching him completely off guard. Oh, the music change is fitting. You honestly think I'm doing this for money? She snorted. I'm no common criminal. Something as fleeting as money holds no sway over me. My only concern here is the Sun Soul. It's mine, and you do well to remember that. Maisie was glaring daggers at Snatchel. For some reason, it was making him break out into sweat. Look, Maisie, I hate to tell you this, but we're not going anywhere. Not without a fight, Mario cut in, pulling on his hammer. I don't care how strong your little pets are. That Sun Soul belongs with us. May sighed theatrically, like, I expected as much from you, Mario. So be it. But don't say I didn't warn you. And she stepped off to the side, which her pets took as a sign for the fight to begin. Mario braced himself as the piranhas dived into the ground and popped in front of them. He whacked the center one on the head with a power smash before he could get in a move, but it hardly even seemed to notice the attack. Come on! Mario groaned in frustration, quickly jumping out of the way as the piranha lunged at him in retaliation. Hannah and Stubba were faring better, but not by much. Both of them were ganging up on one piranha, but even with the two of them attacking it at once, it didn't seem to be suffering much. Hannah had to pull Stubba out of the way as it shot a lethal-looking glob of poison at them. Snatcher was valiantly taking
taking on the remaining piranha by himself, repeatedly ramming it, but the poisonous plant just cackled his efforts before attempting to take a chomp out of him. "This is useless!" Hannah cried. "They're way too strong for us." "You're telling me," Mario grumbled, whacking his piranha again and again to little avail. "This ain't right! No piranha should be this tough!" Snatcher growled. He had thrown his lasso around the piranha's mouth in an attempt to incapacitate it, but he was putting up an obvious effort as his opponent struggled to free itself.
"If you're having trouble now, you may as well just give up," Mousy said listlessly. "Haven't mentioned my pets have learned a new skill? Show them, you three!" At her command, the piranha the Snatcher was fighting burst free of its bonds, sending the sheriff staggering backwards. Then, to the shocks of Mario and his friends, all three of them threw their heads back and let loose a trio of cacophonous screams. And a swarm of venomous thorny vines came bursting out of the ground. Mario and the others cried out in pain as the thorns lashed out at them, like deadly whips, slicing them up before they even had the chance to get away. "You see what I mean?" Maisie said coldly, her expression unreadable as all five of them sank to the ground in exhaustion. The vines retreated back into the ground, and the piranhas grinned ravenously at their victims, ready to finish them off. "Mario, this might really be it," Hannah groaned, fighting back tears of pain. "We can't beat these guys. They're just too strong." But Mario wasn't about to give up. "No, we're not going out like this," he declared. "They may have a new skill, but so do we." He turned to his youngest partner. "Don't we, Stubba?" Stubba looked at him and immediately understood. He grew a determined expression and nodded. They both grabbed hands and shouted, "Freeze frame!" Suddenly, a glowing rectangular frame of bright green light appeared out of the air, surrounding the three putrid piranhas. They looked at it in shock and fear, having no idea what was about to happen. And then the frame of light let out a brilliant flash, and they seized up, frozen in place. Maisie was astonished. "What? What did you do to them?" "We just leveled out the playing field," Mario replied with a smug smile. Now that the piranhas were completely incapacitated, Mario's team made very quick work of them. By the time the star power had worn off and the piranhas returned to normal, they had almost no energy left, and within seconds they had all wilted and drooped to the ground. "Yes, we did it, you guys," said Mario and his partners, except Blaine, obviously. All struck flashing victory poses and cheered. Why is the... my mouse icon was loading for a moment. That's weird. "This is unbelievable," Maisie muttered to herself, still looking shocked. "I never imagined—" Hannah heard her and quickly turned to her in annoyance. "There! We beat you again, Maisie! Now you would drop this whole thing and leave us alone," she asked impatiently. "Don't be ridiculous," Maisie snapped. "As long as there is breath in me, Mario, I won't let you get those sun souls. You're gonna expect to see me again, and I won't be nearly so civil next time." And with that, her three piranhas parrot on the ground, and she leapt off into the shadows and vanished. Crazy Maisie Daisy, Paisy, Tazy, Razy, Lazy. Once they were alone, Mario shook his head. "She has to be the strangest stalker I've ever had, and as much as it saddens me to say it, I've had plenty." "I wish we knew why she wants a sun soul so bad," Stubba remarked, looking thoughtful. "It doesn't matter. She knows they belong with the Guardians, and she doesn't care. It can't be for anything. It can't be for anything good." Hannah sighed. "Yeah." Snatcher was looking slightly distracted as he gazed off in the direction Maisie had vanished. "Really, it's such a shame such a fine-looking lady had to be so nasty." "Yeah, it really..." Mario did a double take. "Wait, what did it say about her?" "Oh, don't remind me, Mario. I'm just over here ruminating. Every daisy has its thorn, I suppose." "Okay, you need to stop," Mario said sharply, grabbing Snatchel and pulling him through the entrance. His other partners followed, deciding they would rather not have heard that conversation. "Yeah, come on, Snatchel. It's fucking sad." I'm gonna take a sip. Luigi's Mansion theme. Cool. Mustard Mines, 11:10 p.m. Mario's party ventured down a narrow tunnel in a single file line, and the air grew stuffy as they traveled deeper underground. Now that the light from outside could no longer reach them, the only source of illumination in the mines came from a series of lanterns hanging from the walls every few yards. The original Luigi's Mansion is part of my childhood. Yeah, I grew up with Luigi's Mansion. I really like that game. I have Dark Moon and 3. I haven't got the time to actually like finish those games, but they're cool. All right. Mario kept glancing at the ceiling, praying that the wooden beams would keep it from collapsing on top of them. I sure hope we don't get lost, Hannah muttered. I mean, this place is supposed to be pretty huge, isn't it? I say it is, Snatchel agreed. That's why you're lucky you got me. It's my job to know my way around this place. Sure enough, he kept guiding the rest of the group along until the tunnel opened up into a large circular cavern. There were other tunnels branching off of it in all directions. This room was apparently one of the central hubs. Uh-oh. Hi, you guys, Mario muttered, pulling his partners into the shadows as 3 mouses came walking out of the other tunnels. I have 1, Dark Moon 3. I finished 1 in Dark Moon, but 3 for me I just couldn't get into. Must be growing up. I understand. Boy howdy, this sure is easier than I thought, one of them laughed. Already we got more gold than we could carry. Thanks to that, they're crazy Mecha Miner doohickey. Sure is making our job a lot simpler, the second one agreed. I don't know what we'd have done without that thing, and I reckon we'll make a fortune just with those last 30 gold nuggets we got out of it. Just as soon as we get him all out of here, before we get caught, the third one decided. The fellers who are hanging onto him are all over the place. We're gonna have to round them up pretty soon. Jeez, 30 gold nuggets? Hannah muttered to marvel to himself. That's a lot, isn't it? Stubba said fretfully. Are those guys gonna steal all of them? Unless we beat them all, that is. Goodblaine grumbled. It sounded like he had better things to do. Oh no! We have to fight 30 of these guys? Mario thought hopelessly to himself. I couldn't even handle 2 of them. I'm not strong enough for this. What am I going to do? Well, come on, you two. Let's get back to work. That Mecha Miner ain't gonna pilot itself, you know, said the third Mouser. Woo-wee! I never thought this job would be so much fun, cackled the first one as all 3 of them took off up a different tunnel. Once they were gone, Mario's group stepped out of the shadows and peered after them. A Mecha Miner? I don't like the sound of that, Hannah remarked as she looked up the tunnel. What do you think it could be? Snatchel looked like he knew the answer to that all too well. Oh, brother, I've been hearing about this. I didn't know it was true, he moaned, leaning against the wall. The Mecha Miner 2400. It's some crazy machine that they got that's helping them dig out the gold around here in record speed. So that's how they've been clearing this place out so fast. Mario looked at him in concern. You okay, Snatchel? I can't believe I let this happen on my watch. He looked like he wanted to pull his hat down over his face. I should have been able to take care of all this. I ain't fit to be a sheriff. Hey now, don't say that, Hannah said encouragingly. We all think you're a great sheriff, probably even greater than you realize. Mario hid a smile when he heard that. Snatchel smiled at her too, although he failed to recognize the significance of those last words. Well, thank you, Hannah. That's mighty kind of you. Guys, can we stop wasting time now? Goodblaine griped. Look, if we're gonna run these freaks out of here, shouldn't we start by getting those gold nuggets back from them before they all get away? Right, Snatchel agreed, immediately straightening up and looking newly determined. Yo, T-Valley, yeah, I love this song. And it's fitting too, because this is the Western Desert chapter. It's perfect music. We're gonna nab that gold back, and then we're gonna make them Mousers wish that they never crossed us. Right on, Hannah cheered. The 5 of them marched off through the central hub and down one of the other tunnels, although Mario was hanging back and looking somewhat reluctant. It's like the playlist is listening to me, yeah. What's wrong, Mario? Asked Stubba. I'm just thinking about all those fights we got back in the desert, Mario sighed. I wasn't strong enough to take those things on by myself, and now we had to fight all these Mousers. I really don't know if I could do it. Mario suddenly noticed that the tunnel they were heading down quickly led to a dead end. Hannah and Goodblaine were examining a large chest that was sitting on the ground. Is there another treasure of the Mousers? Asked Hannah. They sure have been hoarding a lot of stuff.
Well, they are mice after all. I reckon it's in their nature, Snatcher grumbled.
This is a certified hood classic.
It is a certified hood classic, this song. Looks like they've been using this place to stash all their stolen stuff. The nerve of those critters. Ugh, critters. Oh, what's in it? Can we take it? Stubba asked excitedly. Let's have a look, Mario decided, although he was still feeling rather distracted and dejected. He walked up to the chest and kicked it open, and his eyes widened as he saw what was inside. Mario got the super boots! He can now use spin jump to break wooden panels or reveal hidden items to the floor. He can also use the spin jump in battle to do extra damage to enemies. Mario pulled the super boots out of the chest and grinned at his partners, completely forgetting how upset he'd just been completely forgetting how upset he'd been just a second ago. Those guys don't stay in a chest. Author's note. Yeah, this chapter is definitely gonna be 5 parts. Yay! I don't want it to ever end. Boy. Alright. 2 more parts left. I gotta take a sip of water real quick. Alright, cool. And also, gonna eat a little snack. Alright, cool. Author's note. Holy crap, I am so sorry about the epic hiatus, everybody. Stupid college, I blame it for all my problems. But it's summer now, meaning there's nothing coming between me and my writing. Except, you know, my job. I relate. I honestly kind of expected the cringy Mario fanfic, but this isn't that bad. Yeah, no, it's not bad at all. Like, I discovered this fanfic because I used to be like really into TV tropes, and I would like to read like the fanfic recommendations page on TV tropes, and this was like one of them. And I remember reading like I think the first chapter of the story like years ago, and since then, like even though I just read that first chapter, like the story kind of stuck with me, and I kind of want to use this opportunity to like read the story on stream basically. And yeah, it's not a bad story at all. Like, I mean, I do have issues with it. Like, Box of Clay. I know that I don't think you were there in the last stream, but like, the previous chapter of the story had Mario dealing with like some weird, tumultuous feelings about having Stubba as a party member because he's a clubber, and because of his experience with Tubba Blubba and Grubba from Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, he has like this weird like, oh man, he has like this weird deep-seated like prejudice towards clubbers, and the Hammer's partner was like, Mario, this ain't right, you know this is wrong. which is such a weird direction to go with that story, and honestly pretty out of character with Mario. Yeah, it's racist Mario basically. God. But yeah, like the story is not bad at all. Like the only issue that I have with like the writing of the story is that like obviously the story is sort of written with the idea that it's supposed to be like a Paper Mario game. So as a result, it does have like descriptions and detailing that makes it seem like it's describing stuff that you would come across in a game, if that makes any sense. And I mean, it's effective, I think. Like, it does kind of make the story feel like fairly authentic to what a Paper Mario game could go. But sometimes I do think like the descriptions could get kind of like meandering sometimes, like especially like the battle sequences in a story. To be honest, I'm not really into like the battle scenes in a story. They're a bit like, I don't know, meandering is what I would use. But honestly, like the story that's telling and the characters and all that kind of stuff, it's really cool to me, and I'm really curious to see where the story goes from here. Which is honestly like the best quality you could have for a Paper Mario thing, is you want to see what's next. Anyway, anyway, just drink water, and I'm gonna keep reading. How long is this one?
pretty long. And a funny thing, and by the way, like this story was first published in like 2009, so this was like pre Paper Mario Sticker Star. So the story is also kind of like an interesting relic of its time, I would say. Anyway, Mustard Mines, 11:24 p.m. Woohoo! Mario cheered, performing a super-powered spin jump on yet another hapless Mouser thief and finishing him off. Oh, Mario's out for fucking blood. I think around that time, Super Paper Mario just came out. Yeah, it came out in 2007. And it's kind of funny to think that, you know, around that time we got like Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Super Paper Mario, and I guess that kind of triggered like something in fanfic writers where they're like, yeah, we gotta make like a more serious, we gotta do more serious Mario stories, you know? To be fair, I think people nowadays would also tend to write something close to pre-Sticker Star. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair, that is fair, but like, I had to imagine how different the story could have been if like, if this was post Sticker Star. I mean, there'll certainly be like Sticker Star references, I would say. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, here's the thing about Sticker Star. I would not be surprised at all if people aren't motivated to make fan fiction because of Sticker Star. You know, like Sticker Star is like such a dry ass fucking game. Like, it's barely worth making fan fiction about. Or even like making fan fiction like remotely interesting. Unless it was like a complete rewrite of Sticker Star where it has like actual characters and stuff. But anyway. Awesome! That's 8 gold nuggets we rescued already! Hanner beamed. Yeah, but we have to keep hurrying, Mario reminded her, dusting himself off. These guys could clear out of here at any time with the rest of the gold, especially if they get word that we're all down here. It should be barely worth anything, it's so bad. Like, I don't think Sticker Star is horrible. Like, I've played and finished Sticker Star when I, like, decided to play through all the Paper Mario games. And that was actually the first time that I finished both Sticker Star and Color Splash. And, like, Sticker Star is a functional game. It looks nice and has a good soundtrack, but yeah, like the biggest regret I have with that game is that there's just barely anything that's really interesting that happens in it, and that's a big shame for like a Paper Mario game. Anyway, these guys could clear out of here at any time with the rest of the gold, especially if they get word that we're all down here. Well, I don't reckon this fella's in any condition to go ratting us out, Snatcher laughed. Where are the pineapples, Mommy? Slurred a dazed and badly beaten Mouser. Calculated theme goes crazy, yeah. After that encounter, the band of heroes continued traipsing through the mines. I love the words that this author sometimes uses, where it's like, yeah, I don't use this word often, but I gotta make it fancy somehow. As Snatcher explained to the others, this area of the mines consisted of 3 main floors, each one containing what felt like dozens of snaking tunnels. There were Mousers patrolling everywhere, but Mario's team made fast work of all of them. I remember people denying Sticker Star criticism with, let Nintendo change the formula, you just want the same game over and over. Yeah, which is always like, that's the kind of bad faith criticism I don't like, where it's just like, oh, well, you guys don't like it because it's different. Like, no, we don't like it because it's boring. I mean, I like Color Splash and the Origami King. Like, I think those games have qualities. I think the Origami King is really like the closest you get to like a Paper Mario 64 and TTY style S game. But even so, it's like, I feel like this new direction that Paper Mario had been going on after Sticker Star didn't really have much benefit to the series, in my opinion, outside of like art direction, which, you know, the TTYD remake is taking that art style and, you know, further evolving it, and it looks beautiful, so. I'll go as far to say Mario's Missing is better. I played Mario's Missing. Mario's Missing is complete dog shit. Like, it's actually not, it's not even just a bad Mario game, it's just a completely terrible educational game.
and now we got action games 3 times in a row. My biggest problem with modern Paper Mario is that it doesn't seem to know. Well, besides the fact that like they limited the character designs, the storytelling potential. My biggest issue with the modern Paper Mario games is that they can't seem to decide whether they want to be like role-playing games or adventure games, and as a result, it kind of results in an experience where one half of the game is like pretty well thought out, has some charming moments, it's pretty cool and stuff, and the action combat stuff is like not interesting and cool. It's just weird. I'm just gonna keep reading the story. Sorry. I don't like that it's all about paper and nothing else. Well, I would say that's the case for like Sticker Star. Color Splash and the Origami King has a lot more like, more detailed storytelling and more unique characters and stuff. Like I said, the Origami King is basically kind of the closest you get to like a classic Paper Mario game. And it's not all about paper, but at the same time though, like, it's clear that the direction of modern Paper Mario is basically, it's gonna be about the paper, and a lot of our ideas are centered around it. Like, I could tell that the developers do want to make something more interesting and cool with the newer Paper Mario games, but they are limited by, like, this adherence to this new premise and these new limitations that they have to work with and around. And I feel that the most with the Origami King, where it feels like it wants to tell a more complete story, it wants to tell a more emotionally gripping story, but it's still limited by what they could really get away with, really. And, I mean, granted, that's kind of vague either way, because the Origami King does have a lot of moments that are like really cool and genuinely surprising, but still, it's just weird how things have come with Paper Mario. Anyway, let's see. After clearing out the top floor, they walked down a spiraling path to the second floor and were immediately greeted with a familiar sight. "Oh, Mario, look! It's another star thing!" Stubba cheered, racing up to the group of glittering sparkles hanging in the air. "Wow, how'd that little fella get all the way down here?" Mario wondered. Goblin rolled his eyes. "Who cares?" Snatcher started blinking furiously as Mario briefly flipped sideways and reappeared with the Luma in his hands. "Just what the heck is that thing?" "Oh, don't worry. You'll find out soon enough," the plumber replied with a grin, recalling that Snatcher was his only partner who still had to be leveled up. The sheriff just shook his head, looking rather nonplussed? Wait, nonplussed? What does that mean? That the others knew something about this place that he didn't. Unfortunately, Mario had been right to worry about the Mousers getting word of their arrival. While they cornered a few more of the thieves and had Snatchel, however reluctantly, steal the gold back from them, 2 other Mousers were silently watching them from the shadows and were deep in discussion. "This ain't no good. The sheriff and his pals are making off with all our loot," one of them complained. "At this rate, we'll be flat broke before we loot. Before long, we gotta do something." We should have known better to put all our eggs in one basket like that, the second one grumbled. "But they ain't getting their paws on any more of our gold if I got something to say about it. Listen up, I got a plan." Alright, hold on. Oh, water. "And that, Stubba, is why you don't put anything you find down here in your mouth," Mario admonished as the group traveled down the main path. "Oh, but it looks so shiny and tasty," the little clubber sighed. "Alright, Sheriff, you and your friends are out of luck," bellowed the Mouser as both of them leapt in Mario's way, causing him to skid to a stop in shock. "We ain't hiding no more gold where you can just nab it back. This time we stash it real good." "Oh, what are you rascals going on about this time?" Snatcher growled, obviously starting to lose his patience. "You just wait. I reckon you ain't never gonna figure out where we hid the rest of it," the Mouser cackled, and he and his companions scampered gleefully off before Mario's party could react. Okay, what was their problem? "Well, we should have known this would happen." We should have known this would happen," Mario sighed. "Alright guys, we're gonna have to really book it if we want to find the rest of the gold. Now where would the Mousers hide it?" "Oh man, I don't know. Maybe under that giant red X on that ground?" Goblin snapped at him. "Huh?" Mario blinked in confusion, looked ahead and realized that there was indeed a large red X painted on the ground a few yards off the tunnel. They can't possibly be that stupid, can they? He wondered, walking up to it. But sure enough, as he performed a spin job on top of the X, a floor panel came flipping out, and out flew a gold nugget. Well, there's your answer, Snatchel said with a smirk. What? Come on, how'd you figure it out? Whined a voice from behind him. Mario and the others turned around and realized the Mousers had been watching them this whole time. You moron! How'd you think they figured it out? The other Mouser snapped, smacking his partner. And why the heck did you mark the ground where we hid the nuggets? So we remember where we put them? The first Mouser replied lamely. Oh, that's funny. The other Mouser groaned and shook his head. We still ain't done here, Sheriff. We'll be back. Just you wait. And he grabbed his partners and dragged them back down to the tunnel. I'm not sure whether to find this amusing or sad, Mario said after a moment. Damn. Alright, done with that soundtrack. So let's try, what soundtrack should I try? I'll do the Bowser's Inside Story soundtrack. Why not? I love this game. Alright. Hold on. Alright. Let's continue on. They found several more nuggets that way, with Mario spin jumping whenever there was an X on the ground. As they kept plowing through the mines though, they eventually found themselves at a dead end. The small tunnel they'd gone down ended in a steep ledge, with one of the nuggets sitting on the other side of a large chasm. Ha ha! What did you fellas make of this? Jeered one of the Mousers, who were standing on the other side next to the nugget. I'd like to see you try and get all the way over here. Look like we win this round. Snatcher gave them a strange look. You're joking, right? He twirled his lasso and shot it across the gap, roping the nugget and pulling it back without breaking a sweat. The Mouser blinked in shock several times before he seemed to realize what had happened. Shoot! He bellowed, spinning around and violently kicking the wall. Dang it, Sheriff! I swear you ain't getting away with this. You can't outsmart us forever. I reckon we don't have to. That was only a few minutes. Snatcher replied with a grin. Mario burst out laughing while Hannah and Stubba started making faces at the rodents. The Mouse's eyes started twitching. Alright, that does it, he snapped. I didn't want to do this, but you forced us into this. No matter how clever you and your pals think you are, you still got something you don't. Which OC it is. It's Bowser's Inside Story. And what's that? A wicked case of body odor? The sheriff joked, clearly having the time of his life. No. What we got is... The Mouser suddenly pulled out a large box with a handle set into it. A whole heck load of dynamite! Mario and the others immediately stopped laughing. Oh, son of a... Mario muttered, growing deathly pale. Ha ha! Eat this! The Mouser shrieked, pushing down at the handle. Run for it, fellas! Snatcher screamed, but it was too late. A deafening explosion burst through the tunnel, hurling Mario and his partners backwards and sending them crashing to the ground. As the enormous plume of red smoke rushed by them and nearly suffocated them, the ceiling began to crumble and collapse all around them. The whole tunnel's caving in! Hannah cried in a panic. I don't know about you losers, but I'm getting out of here, Gooblain shouted, jumping to his feet and racing down the tunnel. Mario and the others took off after him as fast as they could, but the collapsing tunnel threatened to... Ooh, sorry for the burp. But the collapsing tunnel threatened to catch up to them in a matter of seconds. Guys, down this way! Mario alerted them, making a hard right and dashing down an adjacent tunnel. His partners all followed after him not a moment too soon. The instant they were all together, the ceiling caved in directly behind them, blocking off the exit and trapping them. Oh no! Stubba cried. Mario! Mario, we're back! We can't get out! Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh! Hannah whimpered, biting her nails. Hey now, calm down, both of you, says Snatchel. I'm the sheriff here, and I sit when we panic. Now let's just follow this here tunnel and see where it goes. He turned around to do just that, only to see it led to a dead end approximately 10 feet away. Alright, I reckon we panic now. The gears were slowly turning in Mario's mind. Not yet, we can't. I have an idea. Everybody get in close. His partners turned and saw him pull out the Aeon Hourglass, and immediately understanding, rushed over to him. Just because the tunnel had collapsed here didn't mean it collapsed in the other half of the world, right? Here goes nothing, Mario muttered, turning the hourglass over. All 5 of them disappeared in a flash. Mustard Mines, 11:39 p.m. As the light faded away, Mario and the others looked around and sighed in relief. As they were underground, there was obviously nothing to indicate it was now daylight out, except for the lanterns burning more brightly. But more importantly, the tunnel here was completely intact, and their exit was clear. "That's a mighty fine hourglass of yours, Mario," Snatcher remarked fondly as they walked back out. That was the end of that section. Eventually, the group arrived at another spiraling path that led them down to the 3rd and bottom floor of the mines. By now, the air was almost unbearably stuffy, and the temperature was dangerously high. But still, Mario's interpretive team made their way through. "Okay, how many nuggets was that?" Gunblade groaned as the Snatcher roped another nugget from a ledge out of the reach. "That was 29. Only 1 left," Mario replied, languidly wiping the sweat off his forehead. "Although, something's bothering me, guys. We've gone through this whole place, and we still haven't found a sun soul anywhere. Man, I almost forgot that's why we came here in the first place," Hannah admitted sheepishly. "No doubt the mouse has found it already." Snatcher sighed as he walked along. "Just another reason for us to beat him. Those good-for-nothing rodents don't even know what that thing really is. Just thinking about it being in their grubby little mitts. I can't hardly stand it." Mario glanced sideways at the sheriff. He seemed strangely worried about the fate of the Sun Soul. Deep down, did he already knew? "Uh-oh, what's this?" asked Hannah, snapping Mario back to attention. He turned and looked. The tunnel they were walking down had suddenly opened up into a huge, wide cavern, with the ground dropping out and descending into blackness not too far in front of them. Running through the cavern and spanning the seemingly bottomless drop were a series of mine tracks. "Oh, just terrific. Now what?" Gooblang growled. "Well, this is the only part of the mines we haven't explored yet. Looks like we'll have to cross through here somehow," Mario decided. "And I think I know how." He walked up to a large minecart that was sitting on the tracks right in front of them. Luckily, it looked big enough to fit all of them. "You're kidding, right?" Hannah asked nervously. "That doesn't look very safe," Stubber protested, still staring at the bottomless pit. "Guys, we don't have a choice," Mario sighed. "Besides, they wouldn't have put this thing here if it weren't for safe people. If it weren't safe for people to use, right, Snatchel?" "Well, actually, there have been quite a few complaints about safety code violations in this place. Okay, forget it. Just get in, everybody." "Wait a second, we can't use this thing anyways." Gooblang pointed out the tracks go to a dead end. "Huh?" Mario looked up and saw Gooblang was right. Just after the floor dropped out, there was a switch track that turned left and led to a dead end. The other set of tracks seemed to lead clear through the cavern, but they had no way of reaching the switch. "Okay, well, this is a problem." "Oh, just leave that to me, Mario," Hannah said brightly. She drew back her arm and threw her hammer across the gap. It's hitting the switch perfectly. With a whirring sound, the tracks shifted and clicked right into place. "Nice job, Hannah," Mario said with a smile. "Alright, everybody, let's do this." Very reluctantly, Mario's partners jumped into the minecart. Mario stood behind it and gave it a push, starting it rolling before he jumped in as well. Ever so slowly, the cart rolled along the track, passing over the deep, dark drop. And then it plummeted down a steep slope like a roller coaster. "Ah!" Everyone shrieked. "We're gonna die! We're gonna die! We're gonna die!" Hannah screamed. The minecart reached the bottom of the drop and started zigzagging through the cavern, wobbling dangerously on its tracks and threatening to dump Mario and the others out. Mario fought back the urge to throw up as the cart raced along the tracks, up and down, left and right, without any rhyme or reason. And just when he thought it couldn't get any worse, "Where'd your farmer think you're going?" came a jeering voice from behind them. All of them turned around to see the Mousers riding in another minecart just a few feet in back of them. "What the? Don't you guys ever stop?" Mario cried in exasperation. "Why don't you leave us alone?" Stubber shouted angrily. "Heh, not likely." The Mouser in front snared at them. "Let's see how you like this." Suddenly, the minecart put a Suddenly, their minecart put on a burst of speed, ramming into Mario's cart and causing it to lurch dangerously forward. Mario's group cried out as they were flung to the front of the cart, nearly causing it to flip over. "They're gonna kill us!" Hannah cried. "No matter how many people try to kill me, it never gets any less annoying," Mario sighed. The Mouser's cart rammed into theirs again and again, even as they continued racing along through the rocky cavern, winding around enormous stalagmites that rose up out of the darkness. "You goody-goodies ready to give up yet?" the Mouser mocked them. "Alright, I've had enough," Snatcher declared, jumping to his feet. He grabbed his lasso and flung it at the lead Mouser, whose eyes bulged as he ducked out of the way just in time. The one behind him wasn't so lucky. "What the... Ah!" he screamed as he yanked out the cart, hurtling through the air, crashing into a stalagmite. Hannah and Stubba laughed and cheered. "You pay for that, Sheriff," the remaining Mouser snarled, pulling out a very sharp-looking pickaxe. As his cart caught up to Mario's, he's prepared to lunge at the group, but Mario beat him to it. The plumber jumped onto the ledge of the cart and swung his hammer, whacking the Mouser and sending him staggering backwards. "So that's how you want to play it," the thief growled. He dumped onto the ledge of his own cart, and he and Mario began duking it out with their respective weapons. "If I weren't so terrified right now, this would be the coolest thing ever," Hannah remarked, watching the whole thing. "Shouldn't somebody be watching where this thing is going?" Blaine demanded. The other partners turned and saw that they were heading directly for another switch track. One set of tracks swerved off to the left, the other to the right. "Mario, get back down here!" Hannah shouted. Mario turned around, saw where they were headed, and gave a yelp of surprise, jumping back down in the cart. They reached the junction and veered off to the left, and Hannah threw out her hammer and hit the switch just in time to send the Mouser's cart off to the right. "Yes, we did it!" Mario cheered. "Ha! The joke's on you!" the Mouser shouted over at them as the carts raced along on parallel tracks. "If you get away from me, how you ever gonna get this?" He reached down and dramatically held up the very last gold nugget. Everyone gasped. "You had the thing all along?" Mario demanded. "You got that right, fatty," the thief cackled, holding the nugget up for all to see. "Looks like I got the last laugh after all, huh? How does it feel knowing you got this far only to get outsmarted by a little mouse? I reckon you'll never be able to show your faces in town again. Why don't you just..." He was cut off as Snatcher threw out his lasso and grabbed the nugget right out of his hands. "What? Aw, dang it." "Alright," Hannah cleared as Snatcher caught the nugget in his hands. "We did it! We really did it!" "Awesome work, everybody. I knew we could do it," said Mario as everyone laughed and celebrated. Finally, the ground rose up to meet them again, and the carts began riding on solid earth. "Thank goodness that's over with. We're safe now, right?" said Hannah. Snatcher looked over his shoulders in the direction the cart was heading, and suddenly blanched. I'd sneeze. I wouldn't say that." The tracks came to an abrupt end directly ahead, just in front of a large hole in the ground. Mario and the others turned and noticed this, but were too late to do anything about it. "Well, this stinks." All the scream as the cart crashed into the edge of the tracks, dumping them out and sending them plummeting head over heels into a massive hole, down to who knows where. The Mouser watched this and grumbled to himself, ducking down into his cart and pulling out a walkie-talkie. "Alright, fellas, it's me," he hissed into it. "Now listen up. The sheriff and his posse are on their way down. At this point, there's only one thing left we could possibly do to stop him. Prepare the Mecha Miner. Woo!" Alright, hold on. Whew. Mustard Mines, 11:59 a.m. Mario landed on a hard ground with a painful thud. After wincing and groaning for a moment, he rubbed his spinning head and slowly pulled himself up into a sitting position. All around him, his partners did the same. "Nice going, genius. We're safe now, right? You just had to say it." Blaine shot at Hannah. "Hey, that wasn't my fault," Hannah snapped back defensively. Mario looked around slowly and cautiously. They had fallen into what appeared to be a large circular room with rock walls on all sides. The lanterns that were strung up provided some light, but all that did was illuminate the fact that there doesn't seem to be a single way out. "Mario, are we stuck down here?" Stubba whimpered. "I don't know, Stubba," he replied, trying to ignore his quickening heartbeat. Suddenly, there came a wicked laugh from high above their heads. They looked up to see the mouses peering down at them with a malicious grin on before he performed an acrobatic flip and dropped down to the floor next to them, landing gracefully. It's the end of the line for you fellas, he taunts as Mario's team got into fighting stances. Too bad all that hard work of yours went to waste, cause now we got you right where we want you. What are you talking about? Mario demanded. You're the ones who wasted our time. Wasted your time? We took back all the gold you tried to steal from this place. And if it's a fight you want, we can take you, Hanner chimed in. The Mouser just laughed again. That's where you're both wrong. Even if you didn't add back all our gold, there ain't nothing stopping us from getting it all back, and more. He took a step backward. I think it's high time you all were introduced to our secret weapon, the thing we're gonna use to mine this place empty, he declared. There ain't no way you jokers could stand up to the sheer might of the Mecha Miter 2400. Mario's party gasped. They braced themselves, but after a long moment of silence, nothing had happened. The Mouser blinked to turn to face the wall behind him. I said the Mecha Miter 2400, he shouted at it. Oh, sorry, came a voice from behind the wall. All of a sudden, there came a series of scuffing and whirring noises, along with the sound of something very large starting to move. What are they up to? Mario wondered. Whatever it is, we can handle it, Hanner said confidently. The noise suddenly began to grow louder, and along with them, there came a large rumbling. Mario cautiously took a step back as the earth trembled and shook dangerously beneath their feet, causing rubble to fall from the ceiling and threatening to throw them off balance. And then an enormous machine came ripping through the paper wall, leaving a huge gaping hole. It was made mostly of wood, and it had come rolling out on two large wooden wheels. Extending from its frame were a bunch of long-jointed arms that were tipped with all manner of lethal-looking mining tools, warring tools, razor-sharp pickaxes, and snapping metal jaws. 3 other Mousers were sitting on top of it and piloting it, and the last one gave a sinister laugh before flipping backwards up onto the machine to join them. Mario's party stared up in a bug-eyed horror as the Mecha Miner 2400 rolled up, bearing down on them and looking ready to tear them limb from limb. Although, this might be a problem. And now we've reached the final part of Chapter 3. Let me get a little snack real quick. Alright, finished my snack. And a big sippy. Alright, it's time for the finale of this chapter. Author's note. Okay, first of all, if you haven't heard the news yet, click on my profile page right now. Okay. I don't know. I don't think I get it. This of course means that Temple of the Sun is now officially AU, or it takes place between SPM and the new game. Let's go with that. Anyway, I'm so hyped up of endorphins or whatever that I just had to write up the Chapter 3 finale and post it right now. And this is probably one of the most crazy awesome parts of the entire story. So enjoy! Woo! Okay. They're really hyping it up. Temple of the Sun is now officially AU. Did something happen? I'm not understanding the context here. Shit. Alright. And by the way, like, we were talking briefly about like how the story came out sometime before Sticker Star, but like the last time the story was updated was like 2012. So there comes a point where like, I'm not sure if this will ever happen, but I think there comes a point where maybe Sticker Star might get some acknowledgement in the story. Who knows? Anyway, let's continue on reading.
Mustard Mines, 11:59 p.m. a.m. Sorry. Okay, the Mecha Miner 2400, the crazy machine the Mousers have been using to mine all the gold out of this place, Gooblain loudly announced as he tattled on their opponent. Not only can it run us over with those wheels, it can attack us with each one of these arms coming out of it. That means it'll attack us 6 times in a row unless we do something. Ha ha, you got that right, jeered one of the Mousers from atop the machine. Maybe you fellas should just quit while you're ahead, huh? Then we'll go easy on ya. Don't listen to them, guys, Mario ordered his team, starting off by spin jumping on the machine. Then Hanner got in a hammer throw attack, and Gooblain ran up and delivered a flawless multi-bonk on a wooden frame, causing it to shake dangerously. What the? Oh, fine. If that's the way you want to play it. The mouse was snared. Suddenly, the 5 arms of the machine had been weaving haphazardly around, all lunged forward at the same time. Mario cried out, as the pickaxes sliced at him, and his partners all jumped out of the way for the drills and jaws. Then suddenly, the Mecha Miner put on a burst of speed and came lunging toward them. Hanner screamed, but they didn't have time to react before the monstrous machine ran them all over, flattening them to the ground. Ow, that hurt. The hammer sis whimpered as the Mecha Miner backed away from them. This thing is a lot tougher than it looks, Mario muttered, shakily climbing back to his feet. Ah, you folks getting tired already? Another Mouser laughed, condescendingly. I didn't think the sheriff of Golden Spur Ranch would go down that easy. I ain't finished here yet, Snatcher shouted at them. He charged toward the machine and rammed into it as hard as he could, causing the Mousers to cry out in surprise as they were sent rolling backwards and crashing into the wall. The Mecha Miner shook even harder for the impact. If we keep attacking that thing, it'll break for sure, Mario realized. Easier said than done, Gooblain snapped at him. Sure enough, the Mecha Miner had come rolling forward again, its deadly arms lashing out at them a second time. Yelping in fear, Mario had to scramble backwards to avoid taking a drill to the stomach. Ooh. He tried whacking the arm with his hammer, but that doesn't seem to do much. Come on, guys, Hanner pressed, throwing her hammer and sitting on one of the Mouses squarely between the eyes. The Mouse snared furiously and sent another drill at her, but she ducked into her shell just in time as the drill bounced harmlessly off of it. Meanwhile, Stubber frowned in concentration as he ducked underneath another wildly waving arm, running up to the Mecha Miner and pounding it as hard as he could with his club. Alright, now you fellas are starting to get on our nerves, the lead Mouser shouted threateningly. He pulled a lever and set the Mecha Miner charging forward, and Stubber was unable to get out of the way before he was run over again. Stubber! Mario screamed, trying to run to the little clubber. He was stopped in his tracks by another arm, which grabbed him in its metal jaws by its overalls. The clubber cried out in shock as the arm flailed him around before flinging him headfirst into the wall. Mario! Cried Hanner as she and the others ran up to him. Are you okay? Mario stood up slowly, clutching his head. This would be a heck of a lot easier if we could just get rid of those arms. No kidding, we can't fight off all of them at once, Hanner agreed. We gotta detach them somehow, or something. Yeah, how do you plan on doing that, genius? Gooblain snarled at her. Mario's mind was racing. The constant assault on the machine had proven its structure wasn't strong at all. There had to be some way to get rid of the arms. There must be something they could do. Then his eyes fell on Snatchel. He grinned. You thinking what I'm thinking? Way ahead of your partner. Snatchel replied with an eager smirk. Straightening out his hat, he raced up to the machine and shot out his lasso, roping one of the outreaching arms. Then he yanked backwards with all of his might, and the arm broke off the machine, flying across the room and crashing into the wall. What the heck? Nobody told me that could happen, the lead Mouser cried, turning to smack the one standing next to him. This is all your fault! While the Mousers were busy bickering, Mario ran up to Stubber, who was curled up on the ground. Stubber, are you alright? Stubber quickly uncurled himself, covered in dirt but looking unharmed. Oh, don't worry about me, Mario, he giggled. Guys, look out! Hanner shouted at them, and Mario looked up in time to see the Mecha Miner came barging forward again, and he grabbed Stubber and dived off to the side just in time. Okay, guys, new plan! Mario alerted his partners as they raced back over to them. Snatcher, you get rid of the arms, and then the rest of us will be open to attack the machine. We can break this thing no problem if we all work together.
Yeah, I like the sound of that, Hannah said with a grin. Well, we don't, growled the lead mouser. Who says we're even gonna let you get that far? Get a load of this. He pulled on a lever, and all the remaining arms shot out of them at once, whirring and snapping. Everyone ducked and rolled out of the way, and then Snatcher leapt to his feet and twirled his lasso, yanking off another one of the arms. Hold on. Alright. You're gonna keep trying that? He laughed. You just wait, Sheriff. One of the mouses snarled, shaking his fist. He started fiddling furiously with the levers, causing the Mecha Miner to lurch erratically around as it swung its arms around in a wide arc. No, you lumskull, this ain't how you do it! The lead mouse snapped at him. Both of them started wrestling with the controls, all the while causing their arms to flail crazily in the air. Something tells me they hadn't had much practice with that thing, Mario decided, he and his partners watching the spectacle. Well, let's work for us then, Snatcher decided. One by one, he lassoed the wooden arms and pulled them off the machine, until all of them were lying uselessly on the ground. Yeah, way to go! Hannah cheered, jumping up and down in excitement. The lead mouser looked up and realized what had happened. What the? Ah, dang it! He smacked all of the other mousers! You're getting docked pay for this! How is that our fault? One of them protested. Would you all just shut up already? Gooblain shouted at them, running up and mercilessly multi-bonking the now defenseless machine. Mario and his other partners all followed suit, attacking the Mega Miner with a barrage of their most powerful hits. Finally, the assault became too much for the shoddy machine to handle. The Mousers all froze and stared down in horror as it let out a loud, dangerous creak, accompanied by the sound of splintering wood. Alarmed, Mario broke off his power balance and scrambled backwards just in time to see the Mecha Miner collapse in on itself and came bursting apart. Everyone screamed and ducked as wooden beams and wheels came whizzing over their heads in every direction, crashing into the walls before slumping harmlessly to the ground. When the dust finally settled, Mario and his partners stood up and slowly approached the place where the Mecha Miner once stood. Now there was nothing but 4 bewildered-looking mousers fitting among a pile of broken wood. Well, that didn't go quite like we planned, one mouser sighed. Yay, we did it! Stubborn cheered joyfully. Nice work, you guys, Mario said with a grin, exchanging high fives with his partners. Oh, this is just perfect, the lead mouser growled. I can't trust you fellas to do anything, can I? Come on, let's clear out of here while we still can. Mario heard that and snapped back to attention. Not so fast, he declared, stomping his foot down in front of the lead mouser to cut off his escape. First, you're going to tell us what you guys did with that Sun Soul. Yeah, we know you guys have it, so don't even try playing dumb, Hannah chimed in. The mousers looked unsurely at each other before the lead one's face lit up in understanding. A wicked smirk grew on his face. Oh, I reckon you're talking about that dang old glowy egg thing we found down here, he laughed tauntingly. The alarmed looks he got from Mario's team told him he was right, and he grinned in triumph. Ha! After we got word that the sheriff was down here busting the place up, you really think we're just plumb fool enough to just leave it down here where you could just snap it back? Heck, it don't take a genius to figure out that thing was worth more than all the gold in here put together. Why, you little... Mario growled in frustration. You dirty rodent, Snatcher snarled, grabbing the mouser. You better tell us what you did with that thing. Oh, it's long gone by now, the thief laughed, enjoying the heck out of torturing the sheriff like this. We'd set it someplace safe, far away from here. I'd like to see you try and find it now. He thrust himself out of the sheriff's grip, landing safely next to his associates. Our job here is done, fellers. Let's clear out of here. You know where to go. Hey, wait! Where do you think you're going? Mario shouted after them, but the mousers ignored him completely, cackling to themselves as they took off to the hole the Mecha Miner had ripped in the wall. Come on, guys, we have to catch them! The plumbers yelled at his partners, following the mousers through the wall with the others closing behind him. When he got to the other side, though, he stopped in surprise. They were standing at the bottom of the long, winding tunnel that led the way back up to the top. He could ever so slightly make out a shaft of light coming from the very top, meaning the tunnel led back outside. But the thieves were nowhere to be seen. Somehow, they were already gone. But where'd they all go? Stubborn protested, looking around in confusion. And what they mean by their job here is done, Goblin growled to himself. What are those jokers planning now? I don't know, Mario sighed. But I think we better get out of here fast, guys. We have to follow them, and we have to find that Sun Soul. And so Mario and his partners raced up the tunnel as fast as they could go, feeling the air grow cooler and lighter around them as they neared the top. Finally, they reached the exit, and they stepped out of Mustard Mines into the blazing sunlight. Oh, thank goodness, Hanner sighed, flopping over onto the ground. Sweet, sweet sunlight. I never thought we'd get out of this place. Mario wished he could be as happy as Hanner, but looking around, he was currently preoccupied with the fact that there wasn't a single Mouser to be seen. The guards and the patrols were all gone. Mustard Mines was deserted. Boy, they sure cleared out of here fast, he muttered to himself. But where could they have gone? He very quickly got his answer. Mario, look over there, Stubba cried, tugging on his sleeve and pointing off into the distance. There's some Yoshis coming over here. Huh? Mario and the others looked where Stubba was pointing and saw, sure enough, a group of 5 Yoshis sweeping through the desert at breakneck speed, throwing up an enormous cloud of dust behind them as they ran. They were headed directly for Mario's team. Are they dangerous? Hanner wondered. I don't think so, Mario said with a shake of his head. The closer they got, the more sure he was that he recognized the one at the front. Snatcho blinked in surprise. Dusty? He explained. That you, partner? Oh, Sheriff, thank goodness we found you in time, Dusty cried as he and the others pulled in front of Mario's house. Listen, you gotta get back to town right now. The Mousers, they've taken over everything. They stormed the whole town. What? Mario's team all cried at once. But how? Mario protested. I mean, how could this happen? The Mousers were just over here. You mean nobody could stop them? Hanner asked in alarm. I don't know how it happened, Dusty moaned helplessly, shaking his head. It all happened so sudden. Me and the other fellas here have just barely made it out of here with our lives. All I know is if you ain't there, Sheriff, we don't stand a chance against them. You gotta get back there now and lay the law down on them no good varmints before it's too late. You bet your britches that's what I'm gonna do. Snatcho snapped, storming over and climbing onto Dusty's back. Come on, Dusty, let's ride. However, the red Yoshi didn't move at all, except to turn his head and give Snatcho an apologetic look. Look, Sheriff, I think the world of you and all, but both you and I know that not even you know how to ride me. Snatcho frowned. You gotta be joking. In fact, there ain't ever been that one feller who could do that. Dusty suddenly turned and directly faced Stubba. What do you say, little partner? Can I give you a ride back to town? Oh, you bet. Stubba agreed, looking thrilled. Mario was stunned. Well, I don't see that one coming. Snatcho face palmed. Well, this is humiliating. Alright. I finished my water. Ooh. Mustard Trail, 10:38 a.m. Whee! Stubba cheered as Dusty galloped back through the desert at the speed of a motorcycle. Anyone else would have been flung off a long time ago, but the little clubber was having no trouble hanging onto the legendary steed. Mario and his other players were each riding one of their other Yoshis, unable to take their eyes off Stubba. How does that little feller do that? Snatcher called over to Mario. I'll tell you when I figure it out, Mario shouted back. Golden Spur Ranch, 10 o'clock a.m. Woo! Boy. It's a lot of reading. Hold on. I gotta check something real quick. Alright. Back to the story. Finally, Mario was able to make out the town approaching in the distance, and his blood ran cold when he started hearing a series of frantic screams and cries coming from within.
as they arrived at the gate, and then he and the other Yoshi skittled to a stop. Mario and his partners jumped off the rides and stared in horror. Golden Spur Ranch has been thrown into chaos. The Mouser gang was racing around and wreaking havoc, tying up the hapless civilians for perches on the roofs of buildings, firing their guns into the air. The townsfolk were running around screaming and frantically trying to get away, only to be captured and tied up by the sinister rodents of one by one. "This here town is ours now," one of them laughed from his perch atop a water barrel, "and you folks had better remember it." "How could this happen?" Mario cried. Snatcher was looking severely cheesed off. "Can't this dang town do anything without me?" Just then, one of the mouses standing nearest them took notice of them. "Well, looky here," he snickered, alerting all of his fellows. "Look, who finally decided to show up. It's the sheriff and his ragtag band. You fellows are just in time for the show." All the other mouses stopped what they were doing and turned to glare at Mario's group. Trembling nervously, the 5 of them immediately crowded together in a circle, standing back to back with each other and facing the game of outlaws surrounding them on all sides. All the townsfolk who weren't tied up stood frozen, too afraid to do anything to help. "Alright, I'm gonna say this once," Snatcher growled at them. "You varmints got no business here, so I suggest you all clear out here now before I run you all out of the rail. Who's the leader of this here stunt? I want to talk to him face to face." In response, the mouses did nothing but chuckle amongst each other, and then further up the street, a tall figure came riding into view. Hannah was the only one facing him, and her eyes widened when she saw him. "Wait a minute, Snatchel, isn't that your deputy?" Snatchel instantly spun around. "What? Hoo-wee, you sure are some kind of fool, Sheriff," Bronson called over in a mocking laugh. "Clearing out town and leaving the whole place to me like that? Me and the gang here couldn't hardly ask for an easier time taking the place over." "You mean you were in charge of the bad guys this whole time?" Stubba accused furiously. Mario looked back and forth between the mice and the rat. "You know, in retrospect, this should have been really obvious." Damn, Mario. Seriously? We just had a whole chapter about... fuck. Snatcher was dumbfounded. "I can't believe this, Bronson. I trusted you." "Yeah, well, we all make mistakes, don't we?" The rat funk chuckled. "Well, except me, that is. I ain't ever come up with a more perfect plan. I figure if you ever get a word of the Mouser clearing out mustard minds like that, it was only a matter of time before you just had to go there yourself." "Wait, what?" Goulet demanded. "I don't believe this," Mario fumed. "This whole time, the Mouser's taking over the mines was just a distraction to get Snatcher to leave town. He planned this whole thing out." "Well, that ain't the most low-down, dirty bilge rat I ever saw." Oh wait, that was Hannah speaking. She's really angry. Hannah exclaimed angrily. Every single person present turned to stare at her. Sorry. I think I've been here too long," she muttered, blushing furiously. Snatcher had very clearly had enough of this. "Alright, now you listen here. All of ya. This here is my town and nobody else's. And I won't stand for no bunch of no good nicks like you trying to take it from me." "And neither will we," Mario added as he and his partner stood fearlessly together. "We'll fight you for this town if that's what it takes." "Is that so?" Bronson remarked with a sneer. "Well, this I gotta see." He pointed directly at them. "Sick 'em, fellers!" All at once, the mouses roared in fury and came charging en masse toward Mario and his group, who were more than ready to meet them. "Yeehaw! Time to dispense some Wild West justice on these guys!" Hannah cheered as they all rushed forward in the armies clash. And so began the famous battle of Golden Spur Ranch that would be spoken of in ballads and legends for ages to come. Holy shit, what? Mario swung his hammer furiously around, sending the mouses flying by the dozens. When that didn't work, he busted out his multi-bounce attack, stomping on them in quick succession as easily as though he were playing hopscotch. Goulet was putting up an even better fight. The number of gang wars he'd been in had left him well equipped to take on multiple enemies like this. The mouses ganged up on him and threw themselves at him, but he ducked and dodged their every blow, then spun around and head-bonked the one who was unfortunate enough to be standing nearest to him. But nobody was having more fun than Stubba. During their battle, some of the confused mouses thought they saw a small green blur whizzing back and forth, not realizing it was Stubba until he crashed into their heads.
The little clubber was performing his hyper bounce and slamming into dozens of Mousers in every direction, laughing and cheering all the while as he sent them sprawling. Alright fellas, no more messing around. One of the Mousers snarled as he and several others ganged up on Hanner. The sheriff is one thing, but this girl is gonna wish she never stick her nose in our business. Oh please, you guys need to learn who you're dealing with, Hanner said snidely. To demonstrate, she unleashed her shrink hammer on her attackers, hurling a barrage of hammers at them. As each one was hit, they suddenly shrank to a quarter of their original size and yelped in shock and fear as they realized what had happened. Ha ha! Still think you can take me? The hammer sis laughed, towering over them. Now wait just a darn minute! Snapped one of the Mousers in a comically high-pitched voice. We may be small, but there's still a ton of us, and I don't reckon you'll enjoy having a bunch of little mice crawling over you. Hanner quickly blanched. Ah, crap. Yeah, let's get her, fellas! Shouted another Mouser. Ah! Hanner screamed as the army of miniature Mousers stockpiled on top of her, like actual small mice are tagging her now. Cool. Of course, later on, there would be no doubt in anyone's mind that the sheriff was fighting the most fiercely of all. When he wasn't plowing into the Mousers, he was whipping out his lasso, roping them, and throwing them clear out of the battle before they even knew what had happened. Not one of the thieves could even get near him. This was his town, after all, and he didn't fight for it, then who would? Suddenly, Mario heard an unfamiliar chorus of determined cries, and he managed to tear himself away from the heat of battle in time to see something amazing. Fueled by the bravery of the sheriff's gang, the townfolk had joined in the fight. They had untied themselves and were battling the Mousers every way they knew how, whether it was smashing them with the bottles or just punching them in the face. Holy shit! Mario quickly realized that the Yoshis, led by Dusties, were fighting back as well, plowing through the crowds of rodents as they gulped them and spat them out. He burst out laughing. He burst out laughing. Boy, this is really something. But where's Hanner? Someone wondered from next to him. Get him off me! Get him off me! Hanner shrieked as she raced by, and the shrunken Mousers still swarming over her. Mario sighed, grabbing her and shook them off. Thanks, Mario, she said sweetly before charging back into the fight. The battle wore on like that, and it very quickly became clear that the Mousers weren't going to win. The combined determination and might of everyone in town was obviously too much for them to handle. I can't believe it! We're actually winning! Clearly Bronson couldn't believe it either. Alright, that does it, he bellowed, his voice ringing out over the chaos of the fight. This here is between you and me, Sheriff. You call off your friends and face me like a man. Mousers, back off! They looked more than happy to oblige. Very few of them were even left standing, and they staggered away from their respective battles and collapsed to the ground in exhaustion. The townsfolk quickly tied them up with the same ropes that had been used on them. Hold on. Whew. Where was that at? What are you talking about? Snatcho asked suspiciously. You heard me. You and me in a good old-fashioned showdown. Winner takes all. You accept? What? Oh, come on. You're just playing dirty because your stupid gang lost the fight. Gouplain accused him. Yeah, we won fair and square, so just deal with it, Hanner agreed. Oh, I wouldn't say we won just yet, the deputy chuckled. You see, I just got a hold of something we found in the mines. I was told you fellas might be interested in it. He pulled something out of his vest, and everyone gasped. The object in his hands looked just like the sun souls belonging to Hanner and Stubba. It was the same egg shape, had the same silver waves, and shone with the same light. But its color, a pure brilliant yellow, was the most breathtaking thing about it. Ooh. What do you say, Sheriff? You win, you get the town and this pretty little egg. Sounds fair? Before Mario could even open his mouth, Snatcho had already responded. I accept. Ooh. The entire town erupted into astonished murmurs and whispers, most of them looking incredibly frightened. Snatcho, are you sure about this? Mario asked him in a low voice. He's obviously just trying to get you by yourself so we can't help you. Oh, I know that, Mario. And that's how I want it. There's some things a man has just gotta do by himself. Mario nodded in understanding. Of course. I guess it wouldn't be a Wild West adventure without a showdown at high noon. But it's only 10. Stubba said in confusion.
Uh, figure of speech, Stubba. Alright then, Sheriff, Bronson said with a smirk, stepping out into the middle of the street and pulling out a gun. When you feel like it, you draw. Hannah's eyes widened. Wait a minute, Snatcher, you can't fight him like this. He has a gun! And when he didn't look worried, she prompted, and you don't have a gun. Hannah's right. He had to get a weapon or something, Mario began. But the sheriff cut him off with a shake of his head. I never used violence to uphold the law, he said firmly. If I did, I'll be no better than that old sidewinder. I got this handled, don't you worry. He smiled and winked at them. And so Mario and his other partners could only stand back and watch in anticipation and fear, along with the rest of the town. As the sheriff and deputy faced each other, everyone recognized that the fate of the town was hanging on the outcome of this fight. Everything was deathly silent. No one dared to move. The sweltering hot sun beat down, and the tension filled the air. An obligatory tumbleweed blew across the street, as the opponents glared at each other from under their hats, wondering who would move first. And then the silence shattered as Bronson let out a furious cry, pulling out the gun of his holster and preparing to fire. And before his finger had even found a trigger, a lasso had come shooting up, tightening around the handle and yanking the gun clear out of his hands. Then the sheriff snapped the rope like a whip, whacking him into the side of his head with his own gun. He cried out in pain before crumbling to the ground, very soundly defeated. There was a lingering moment of stunned silence, and then all at once, the entire town flew into a celebration as whoops and cheers of joy filled the air. Hannah and Stubba linked arms, began dancing around in a circle, and several random people started throwing up their hats or firing pistols into the air. Even Mario was swept up in it before long. Amidst all the excitement, Snatcher chuckled to himself and walked over to Bronson, slapping a pair of handcuffs on him. By the power vested in me as sheriff of Golden Spur Ranch, you're under arrest, partner. Dang it, he muttered. I should have known you'd be too stubborn to give up that easy. Well, we all make mistakes, don't we? The sheriff replied without missing a beat. Oh, and I'll be taking that back too, he added, picking up the Sun Soul. Mario broke off from celebrating in time to see Snatcher walking back over to him, holding the Sun Soul out graciously. Mario, partner, I believe this belongs to you. Before Mario could respond, the Sun Soul suddenly began glowing fiercely, emitting a bright yellow light, as though it had been waiting for just this moment. Snatcher looked at it in surprise. Is that supposed to happen? Well, actually, yeah, said Mario, not even trying to contain a smile. Hannah and Stubba were grinning as well, looking absolutely thrilled. You see, there's something we haven't told you, Mario went on. That Sun Soul, well, it doesn't really belong to me. It belongs to you. Snatcher tore his gaze away from the Sun Soul and stared at him. Wait, what? He cried. What are you getting at, Mario? You mean I'm... Oh, we've been waiting so long for you to find out. Hannah burst out happily, unable to contain herself any longer. Yeah, you're a guardian just like me and Hannah. Stubba giggled in excitement. That's okay, right? Snatcher was just looking more and more dumbfounded. Wait a minute, you mean you knew it was me this whole time? And you didn't even tell me? Oh, come on, you would never have believed us anyway, Hannah laughed. Yeah, I figured it was best to just let the facts speak for themselves, Mario agreed. Snatcher had no idea what to say in response to that. Instead, he just turned back to stare at the Sun Soul that was still glowing in his hands. And the longer he looked at it, the more he wondered how he ever gone so long without it. Oh, Mario, I reckon this means I'm gonna be sticking with you and your posse for quite a while, don't it? Uh-huh. Then he looked at them and smiled. Well then, it's a good thing I've come to like you fellas. Hannah grinned. Yay, we all love each other! She cheered as she threw an arm each around Mario and Snatcher, accidentally throwing them all off balance and causing them to collapse to the ground. Mario found a Sun-High Soul. His star power is now 3. With Snatcher's help, he can now use his special move, Miracle Glow. End of chapter. The Wild West was a dangerous and mysterious place, fraught with enemies at every turn. Armed with diligence and determination, Mario and his partners were able to rescue the town of Golden Spur Ranch from the clutches of the sinister Mouser Gang. With 3 Sun Souls now in his possession, Mario's quest is halfway complete. But it will only be more difficult from here. Where could the adventure possibly lead him next? To be continued.
Author's note. Master of randomness, you totally called it. And with that, my favorite chapter is over. Darn. Well, I hope you all enjoyed reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it, which is quite a lot. And there's plenty of adventures and excitement left in the story, so don't go anywhere. As a matter of fact, Chapter 4 should be pretty epic as well. Aha! So yeah, that was Chapter 3 of Paper Mario and the Temple of the Sun. That went on way longer than I expected. Initially, I was planning on having to read both Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 per stream. Because where is the temple exactly? The temple was established in the very first chapter of the story. It's the place where the Guardians rest, and it's where like the 6 Guardians of Day got murdered, setting up the events of the story. But yeah, I'm gonna end stream off around here. I'll do Chapter 4 later. I thought I was gonna do both Chapter 3 and 4 in this stream, just like what I did with Chapter 1 and 2. But yeah, no, this chapter was a lot more extensive than I realized, and yeah, I imagine that maybe if this keeps up, then I think it's gonna be like a chapter per stream. So there's gonna be a bunch of streams of the story, so brace yourselves. But yeah, I quite like Chapter 3. It's pretty dang fun. I quite like Snatch Out as a character. He's very interesting and cool. But yeah, let me go on Twitch right now and see who's streaming, so I can give them a raid. Let's see. You know what? I think I'll just end the stream right here. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate anyone watching me read this story. And now that knowing how long these chapters are gonna be, I have a feeling. So I'm gonna do more reading streams, but every once in a while, I'm not gonna just read this story. I may go back to reading like smaller stories to sort of like break it up sometimes, because I don't want to just kind of do multiple streams in a row of Temple of the Sun. You know, like I've read like bad stories and some good stories, and I kind of want to go back to reading like a bad story at some point in the future. But yeah, with all that said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a good day. And by the way, I am open for art commissions. If you want to order a commission from me, you could visit my Ko-Fi link, which is in the bottom left corner of the screen. If you want to commission me, you're free to do so. If you want to donate, you can do that too. If not, it's all cool. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you all have a good night, a good weekend, and a good March 10th. Bye-bye.